But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
It was a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, 6, 3, 2, 9, 7.
Media doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight, it almost feels like it's an extension of last night. Let me tell you what. There's a lot of things in these news cycles that seem ridiculous, beyond ridiculous. Again, we got the Vatican rewriting the rules for these apparitions as we described last night, and there was something that was kind of nagging at me last night as we talked about this. There's something that I knew we were missing as part of the larger discussion. And this was one of those ones that it popped about a month ago or so, maybe 6 weeks or something. And this was the one I was missing as part of it, right? Okay, so the deal is this. Hold on. Let me drop this link in here. We're good. All right. I'm going to just make sure we got the thing live on Twitter. All right. There you go. That's what happens when you don't have a team of people doing these things for you, right? Like everybody else does. You got to do all the things yourself. Okay. So, all right. So here's the deal, right? So last night we talked about that Vatican thing and compelling, bizarre, a lot of weird stuff with it. It fits into apparitions and UFOs and the paranormal world and, all the things we always talk about and how these ideas really kind of blend together because we don't have literal direct definitions of these things. As I've always said, you can't really differentiate between them other than conceptually until you catch them and put them in a zoo side by side or something. And then you can maybe kind of do something to that effect, and start quantifying them in better ways. But I don't know. I think when you look at UFOs or you look at the paranormal, that those worlds are colliding in a lot of ways. And we explored a bunch of that last night, specifically in terms of how this comes together with, religion and that ontological shock that we're always talking about that is always being bandied about in the UFO community. Well, the ontological shock is a thing. I mean, it's I don't know. So a lot of things happening. So let me back up. So what we were doing last night was exactly that. Talking about the Vatican sort of rewriting the rules for what constitutes a legit miracle, right? Apparition Marian style miracle, which is, odd, bizarre, all those things, okay? But it also brought to mind, today I was thinking about it a little bit more, and there's this article that popped weeks and weeks ago. Now, it just resurfaced again mid-May here, but it's from slate.com, and the headline is, I see demon faces everywhere. Yeah, demons, right? Actual demons, okay? Now what the hell does that mean? What exactly does that mean? Maybe some of you saw this article, maybe you read it, but there's a lot of things happening in terms of the zeitgeist, in terms of the quickening, as we say, in terms of the mass media and the fear cycles and all the rest of this. And this is part of it, of course. But this particular thing, I see demon faces everywhere, is not just a clickbait headline. This is a rare disorder. Where, yeah, let me read. I'm only going to say this once, okay? Because I probably will never say it again. I'm probably going to butcher it the first time. But here we go. This is the thing. All right. Let's see. I'll read it straight from my write-up because it's probably a little bit better describing this. But we'll go back to that article in just a second. Now the bizarre part about this is real. People actually are out there that see demon faces, okay? Like legit actual demon faces on people, okay? So here you go, straight from the write-up. Link's going to be in the description if you want to read along or get ahead or whatever. Here you go. So in the realm of rare neurological disorders, here's where we say it's prosopometamorphopsia. I can't even say it. PMO, we'll call it. Prosopometamorphopsia. Yeah, something like that. Okay. Anyway, it's a long word that basically means this PMO is what we're going to call it for short. It stands out due to its profound and often terrifying effects on perception. Okay. Imagine waking up one morning and seeing the familiar faces of your loved ones transformed into grotesque demonic visages. This is the daily reality for those suffering from this malady, PMO, a condition that distorts facial recognition, making faces appear nightmarish and unrecognizable. PMO is an extremely rare disorder, and this is breaking down the actual deets on this so that we understand how rare this is. But it's odd that it is sort of surfacing in the zeitgeist in the past 6 weeks or so, to the effect where now the Vatican is also rewriting, right, as we discussed last night. Anyway, so PMO is an extremely rare disorder with fewer than 100 documented cases since its identification in 1904. What about the before 1904? I gotta wonder. Anyway, so the condition affects the brain's ability to process and recognize faces, leading to visual distortions that can be profoundly disturbing. These distortions vary from person to person, but often involve features that appear stretched, discolored, or monstrously altered. The case of Victor Shara, a 59-year-old man from Tennessee, which is back to this Slate article, provides a vivid illustration of PMO's impact. Shara's journey with the condition began unexpectedly. He described waking up one morning to find his roommate's face warped into something akin to a horror movie creature, with elongated features and deep grooves. This perception persisted with other faces he encountered, turning everyday interactions into sources of fear and anxiety. Okay, now just think about that. Everything's fine, and then one day you wake up and everybody around you looks like demons. Okay? And of course, it made this one when I first read this. This was I didn't want to do this at the time when I first saw it for some other reasons I did mention. So I'm not going to mention it again. But the deal is that I saw this weeks back, and I was like, this is really strange. This is one of those ones that it's incredibly rare. Awesome. Let's hope this stays incredibly rare and doesn't turn into some sort of mind virus where we all wake up tomorrow and start seeing demons. But it's kind of a toe in the line between not just, let's say, this bizarre scientific, what am I calling this? Like sort of the Rorschach test, except in real life. Okay. You guys remember the ink blot tests where, you're supposed to look at it as part of this psychological evaluation business. And they're like, what do you see? And you're not supposed to be like, Cthulhu destroying the universe, right? I mean, that's the those are the jokes, right? That kind of come out of those movies when they make fun of those ink blot tests. But I mean, it's supposedly a real science, and I mean, I don't know, right? Is it? I mean, isn't this sort of what we're doing when we're seeing demonic faces around us, sort of failing the ink blot test a little bit? Anyway, so back to this. Now, it is incredibly rare, and so imagine waking up and everybody around you is actually demon faces, having like an actual demon face. So interestingly, Shara's distortions only occur. Now, this is the weird part. This is where this made my tinfoil tingle even more when I started reading about this. Now, he's walking around the world and he's seeing these people with these just distorted faces now, and he just wakes up one day and this happens. And everywhere he goes, he's seeing demons, basically, seeing, dimensional entities or something. Everybody leering at him like he's in some sort of horror movie, right? Well, here's the crazy part is that, I'll read it straight from the thing. So interestingly, Shura's distortions only occur with in-person faces, okay? Not those seen in photographs or on screens. Okay, so his mind is able to differentiate between the two, okay? Meaning what exactly? Like, how come there's some effect of the actual human face with the shadows and the movement and all the rest that manifests as this demonic face malady, except when you look at this, you look at a photograph or you look at a screen, the black mirror, right? That whole bit into the scrying mirror of the modern time. Well, people look normal. And so this is how they were able to kind of piece this together. So one, it was very rare, and they were able to kind of give illustrations of what this looks like, as you can see on the screen here, if you guys are actually watching the stream. But you see how the faces are kind of stretched a little bit, big eyes, very funhouse mirror-esque, okay? Definitely creepy if everybody around you looks like this. But they were actually able to piece together what this looked like because they take his descriptions of people, IRL, actual real people, and then match them up against, a screen so he could show the differences, because clearly one way works with the brain and the other way doesn't, which to me was like, wait a minute now. Does this make any sense at all? And if it does, what are we picking up on as part of that this malady? Okay, this brain, as I'm calling this, what is it? Dimensions of mind perception. Okay, so if we can actually see a person and have this sort of effect manifest just IRL in real life, and then you take a picture of that person and it doesn't manifest whatsoever, doesn't that seem incredibly strange to you? Like there's, well, maybe something about the flesh and blood of the entities themselves as part of this. And I don't know, there's a lot of ways to consider it and a lot of wild ideas that come along with this. But it did get me thinking about all of that stuff because it's, I'm a little bit creeped out, to be perfectly honest with this. And what if this becomes prevalent? What if this is, again, one of those ideas that are, as we say, infectious, mass hysteria, sort of in the zeitgeist type of thing. Well, imagine if more and more people suddenly start seeing demons. I mean, how would you feel? I don't know. I'd be like, that's it. No more troubled minds. I'm done. It's got to me. It finally got to me, right? But of course, that wouldn't be the case. It would be some actual physical distortion of the mind that has manifested as a very rare brain disorder for at least back to 1904. You see, there's some really wild stuff here. So, of course, as you know, I have some wild ideas as we go tonight, but some of this stuff is metaphysics, of course. Some of this stuff is, sort of on the cusp of this scientific, what might come next. But it does make me wonder about other things, like specifically, which I'm talking about tonight, calling this Faces from the Abyss, demonic residue, these visual anomalies, sort of a Rorschach ink blot test of life itself. And our ability to have dimensions of perception as part of these discussions is, that's part of this. And this is, anyway, so that's where we start tonight. And basically, well, why do you think specifically, and go ahead and stretch your imagination, why do you think specifically that we have this malady that you're able to see demonic faces of people directly IRL in real life, but not actually see people, the demonic faces in photographs or see it in a screen? That seems just incredibly bizarre to me, almost as if there's something on a living human that is maybe casting off something that's being picked up on, well, with another sort of antenna. You know what I mean? Meaning, I'm describing this as, is it possible this is actually some sort of ability to pick things up from other places, like an antenna of sorts. Anyway, that's what's on my mind tonight. That's the first question or two as we start. But have you heard of this, of course? And then how weird does it get? Becomes, well, very troubled mindsy. So that's what's going on. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break and be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. A quick word from our sponsor, which, of course, is Jack in Oregon. Don't go anywhere. More Troubled Minds on the way. And where's the button? There's the button. Be right back. 1 minute exactly. See you then. Feeling stressed, overwhelmed? In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to get swept away by our emotions. Take a breath and find your inner strength with the Stoic Minute.
You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength.
The ancient Stoic philosophers understood that we can't control everything in life, but we can control how we react.
The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts.
Focus on what you can influence. Cultivate a positive mindset, and let go of what you can't change. Find your inner strength. Live each day with courage, wisdom, justice, and moderation. Embrace the Stoic virtues and find peace within. The Stoic Minute, brought to you by Jack in Oregon. And welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Let's continue, shall we? Now, this is the bizarre part. Like I said, this one at first was just a little bit terrifying. It was, of course, that, as I'm calling this, dimensions of perception within the human mind being struck with this malady where you're seeing demonic faces, okay? Which, again, is odd. It's creepy. It would be one of those things where you woke up and if you didn't think instantly you had lost your mind, well, then you're a better person than I, because I would... man, I tell you what, just imagine that first 20 minutes. That first 20 minutes of suddenly everybody's got these sort of twisted demonic faces everywhere around you. But then, maybe you pull up your computer or your phone and you look and you take a picture of your loved one and you look and it's not like that, but they are like that in real life. I mean, that's very terrifying. And how come there's a distinct difference between the two things with the visual adaptation of the mind here? So anyway, as I'm reading through this and looking at some of these things, it of course, it does come to mind what, as Daryl saying in the chat, pareidolia, right? This whole bit of us seeing things that may or may not be real. But I think this is really difficult because this is a real phenomenon, and it's one of those things that is incredibly rare. But what if it's not? What if this is people seeing demons is quite a bit less rare than we think? Just nobody wants to go to the doctor and admit it. Anybody out there seeing demons? And how about this? What if this is one of those things, the mass media, let's say, what would you call it? Sprinkling dust in the air to make us see this sort of stuff, to make this sort of thing become contagious, dare we say? Yeah, some sort of contagion. I don't know. Wild stuff. If you read the article, it's long and it's a long and sordid tale, but yeah. So this is one of those things that creeped me out, and I would imagine this would change your life in a very, very ridiculous way. And so the question becomes, though, well, how would you know if you saw an actual demon, right? Assuming, again, let's say we're going out on a cliff now, of course, which is what we do. But let's say, for the sake of the conversation, the philosophical construct, as I always say, all the disclaimers apply. You need not believe in demons to have the conversation. Just for the moment, consider that demonic entities are real, or entities of any kind. And there you go. Non-human entities, which are in the news with non-human intelligence and all this other wild stuff, okay? But how would you know if you saw one instead of something like this, or if they manifested in, let's say, particular ways? I think this one idea comes to mind from, you guys ever seen that movie of, what is it, Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves, the Devil's, what's it called? Devil's Advocate, I think is what it's called. But Keanu Reeves is seeing these entities. I know his wife is. His wife is actually seeing these sort of demonic faces that are shifting. But of course, if you know the movie at all, they've moved into a big, prestigious law firm in New York City. And as part of it, the owner of the law firm is the devil himself. And of course, Keanu Reeves, not to spoil a very old movie, but is supposedly the son of the devil that's supposed to, bring about the Antichrist and the whole bit. It's one of those, fire and brimstone eschaton sort of movies, right? But his wife is actually seeing this stuff happen, okay? Seeing, because she's not part of the bloodline of this just unholy bit going on in the movie, and it's just a movie, so everybody relax. But it's interesting that this type of thing has been depicted in Hollywood in other ways, And like I said, goes back to 1904 as far as we're aware. But of course, it's going to have to go back further than that for sure. So what the hell does this look like in like the Middle Ages? And I wonder if this is a little more prevalent than we know about, just because people don't want to talk about it. I don't know. Yeah, Charlie's their own, right? Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, so look, I don't know. Weird stuff with this, and there's a lot of ways to consider this, which is what we're going to do tonight. But the question becomes, yeah, I see demon people, right? Yeah, I see you guys in the chat. I'll come say hi at the bottom of the hour. So, okay, so that's the deal. That's where we're at, and that's really what's on my mind tonight as we start this. But keep this in the back of your mind, is that as this really sort of enters the zeitgeist and becomes a thing, okay, not just this idea which has been kind of making the rounds for about 6 or 8 weeks, as I said, this deep seeing demon faces, but also yesterday it was again announced that the Vatican's going to start. Well, let's change the guidelines for what it's like when you see an official, miracle style apparition. You see what I mean? There seems to be a confluence of events that make you go, well, what do you think is happening here? I don't know. And so it came to mind, this idea, and this demonic residue. Okay, meaning that specifically this. If you're looking at a person and you have this malady, okay, again, it's called, I'm not going to say it, PMO, but can I say it? No, I'm not going to butcher this again. It's right there. It's a super long word. If you guys can say it, call me and tell me how to say this. But there it is. That's yeah. It's a really long word. It's a how science likes to be like, hey, we'll just make it 88 syllables. Yeah, it's one of those words. Anyway, so if you have this PMO, this actual rare neurological disorder, which can just kind of manifest randomly and just pop up, and now you got it, you start seeing these demons. Okay, and then as part of it. Well, I was wondering, how come you have the aspect of being able to see these people's faces directly, and you see this distortion, okay, the distortion of their faces. But then you look at pictures, and your mind is still able to make the difference. And it brought to mind, to me, some sort of, I don't know, like maybe a biological effect of sorts, like an electromagnetic effect, or as I'm calling it, demonic residue. Okay, something to that effect. And look, I don't know what that is, to be honest. There's a lot of things esoterically that kind of maybe make some sense there, but you see what I mean? Almost like a morphic resonance or something like Rupert Sheldrake. These types of ideas that maybe there's something happening where the reason they don't see it through the screen is it's because they're picking up on something else, some actual magnetic resonance or residue of sorts. That, I don't know, maybe it is becoming a psi power and they're able to, I don't know, see through the veil or something. I don't really know. But it does seem strange, doesn't it? That I get it, shadows and light, movement of a human face, all the rest of that stuff. But then you would expect, if it's a neurological disorder looking at a screen, you would still kind of have this distortion of human faces. So you get what I mean. There's a little bit of a weird difference there. And so what it made me think of when I first read about the fact that you could actually do this in a real life, but not through like a scrying mirror, as we call them, or a digital device, that there's something else happening with this that is not quite specifically as we expect or what we think it is. Again, we're calling it a rare neurological disorder, but don't you think that would transfer over to looking into the black mirror, the magic mirror on the wall, and able to see the same things? I don't know. The mind works in mysterious ways. And of course, as part of that, we can talk about, as I'm calling this tonight, that's it. What is it? Where is it? There it is. So the dimensions of mind perception. And this has been a philosophical thing for a very long time. And how much do we actually take in? Like how much that human lens, how much are we actually sort of absorbing as part of these wild ideas, not just here on Troubled Minds, but just in an everyday life basis. And so, yeah, a lot here, a lot of weird things to consider and think about. But it does seem strange to me that, and the thing that really put the cherry on top here, I was about to do one of those other ones today. We were going to do HARP or something in the eclipse. Or not the eclipse, the aurora. But then I was reading just a little bit about this, and the Black Mirror thing was like, okay, that's it. We have to do this because this is one we missed weeks ago. But it is in the zeitgeist for sure, this idea of seeing demonic faces as part of this rare neurological disorder. But also on the heels of this Vatican announcement coming Friday, I don't know, it almost seems like It seems like, I don't know. Does it seem like something or does it not? As usual, I don't know. This is definitely a scary thing. If you wake up and you see demons tomorrow, don't blame me. It's not my fault. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And what are your ideas? And how come specifically that if you look into a device or a photograph, you don't see this with this neurological disorder, but you see the person in real life with all the rest of it? Again, shadows and energy and life and all the rest. And that manifests as this demonic face. It's strange, right? It seems really weird to me. And that's exactly the point of tonight. It's exactly why we talk about this stuff. And so, you look at it as a real life IRL Rorschach test is really what kind of came to mind. But I don't know. Does this go away on its own? Is it treatable? Like, I don't know. If it starts immediately, can it stop immediately? I don't know. Anyway, that's what's happening. And on the heels of last night's discussion, I think maybe, just maybe, this may not be as frivolous as we deem it to be, because a lot of things at play and a lot of signals flying around out there and a lot of the mass media fear cycles and all that stuff we always talk about. And of course, specifically, it's an election year. So don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the most important election of your life. And don't you forget it, because of course, if you vote for the wrong person, you may end the world as we know it, right? Fear, doom, doom, fear, fear, doom, doom, fear. And then, well, don't wake up tomorrow and see demons, because then I feel really bad. I feel really bad. Anyway, that's what's on my mind tonight. That's where we're at. And there's a lot here. But why do you think it is? So what is happening with the juxtaposition of the two things? Seeing the face of the actual entity, the person, is distorted with this actual neurological disorder, but then also seeing a picture or a digital representation of them through one of these new age scrying mirrors, as we call them, the black mirror of a digital device, it doesn't manifest. Isn't that weird? It almost seems as if there is some sort of residue, which I'm calling demonic residue tonight, for lack of a better term, and I'm even making it up. As you know me, I am wont to make up terms because, yeah, why not? If nobody says it, it will never become a thing. And if nobody says it, it can never be denied as a thing. You get it? Anyway, that's what's on my mind tonight. I hope you guys are doing well. I'll come say hi in just a moment. And happy, what day is it? Happy Monday? I don't know. Faces from the Abyss, demonic residue and visual anomalies. Now, the real life IRL Rorschach test. If you wake up tomorrow and start seeing demons, what's the first thing you would do? Second, why is there the big difference between seeing this with this neurological disorder in real life versus pictures, depictions? Seems strange that the mind should want to distort all of it, right? Unless there's some sort of morphic field or something that maybe they're detecting instead. I don't know. What are your thoughts? 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. Don't go anywhere. We got James Salcedo coming up and your calls as well. Be right back. More Troubled Minds on the way. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight we're taking your calls as we talk about this Faces from the Abyss. Is it possible that this demon face syndrome is somehow contagious? Or there's some sort of demonic residue that's being picked up as part of, well, these media fear cycles? And of course, we've talked about pop-out topoids and manifesting entities as part of a fear mechanism of not just individuals, but of the zeitgeist itself. Now, if all that's possible, and again, you have to probably squint and really, really take a maybe juice take to consider all that stuff as real or could be real, which is fine by me, because that's what we're here doing, really, is considering ideas that are not quite considered a lot. And as I call it, kicking around the cosmic soccer ball. But is it possible then that something like this could manifest and become contagious through fear mechanisms? Through, again, now that it's in the zeitgeist and now that we're talking about it, is somebody else going to be talking about it and the rest of the thing? And then suddenly, are people going to start seeing demonic faces on the regular? And are we normalizing seeing demons? in the environment. Love to hear your thoughts. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Lots of wild angles here to tackle, and I got some wild ones too, so hang tight on that. I don't want to blow all the good stuff right up front. As you know, we go a little slow to start and then step on the gas. Let's go to James in Michigan. What's up, my man? Salcedo Paranormal. How you doing, my friend? And go right ahead tonight.
I'm okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Mic check closer to your face, and you should be good to go.
Okay. Yeah, it's always hard to tell because going from one day to the next, it's just, yeah.
No problem. I understand.
So
hey,
this is a...
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, this is weird because I've heard accounts that people have had, not this directly, but people have seen regular people out in public that they don't know. And they'll look normal for 1 minute, and then they'll change. Their faces will change, or their appearance will change to be more monstrous or demonic, or however you want to call it, but just dark or negative looking. And sometimes these people that are noticed will actually look at the person and then look away. Other times they'll just be going about daily life, driving around, whatever they're doing. But this is usually, from what I've heard and read, it's only one person seeing one entity or one image of a person, and it only changes. It is only like that for a brief time. So I'm wondering, is that connected at all, or is it not, and it's something totally different?
Yeah, I wonder, because this is something that does maybe manifest, like Jacob was saying, yesterday, he seemed a little bit out of it himself and was having maybe sort of distortions, or maybe he was tired, or, sort of that cognitive aspect of things that's temporary, that, sometimes you see some weird stuff and you're like, man, I need a nap or whatever, right? And your mind isn't quite on point. And so some of these things, of course, maybe tricks of the mind, as we always talk about. What is it? Pareidolia. Shout out Daryl there in the chat. And so, this type of stuff certainly manifests temporarily. So as you're describing it, I wonder if this happens quite a bit more often. And it is, let's say, not a permanent thing, but something that kind of comes and goes based on sort of mental states, or again, maybe as we're talking about, let's say, influenced by maybe energetic imbalances in society or groups of people, this type of stuff. I don't know. A lot of ways to consider it, but I definitely have a problem visually when I'm tired. I the things get a little foggy, and I get these weird floaters, type of stuff. I wouldn't call it paranormal, but it's certainly one of those things where you're like, wait a minute now. Imagine dealing with this all the damn time. And of course, lucky for me, no matter how tired I get, I don't see demonic faces. So thank God for that, for sure. But yeah, wild stuff. And I have heard that. That's just that sort of shadow people effect in some way as well, right? The kind of that corner of your eye, you look away, and then you're wondering if you're the crazy one.
Yeah, shadow person. Other times it is like almost, and it's really weird. It's something that I can't describe other than almost like Venom, like the Venom symbiote, kind of like just the head of a person will appear almost like that shadow figure kind of head. But then also have, of course, probably the scariest part is the teeth. This kind of a dangerous or evil smile on their face. But so that's another aspect of that. The other thing I wanted to say, though, is sometimes I wonder if this is connected at all, because I do wonder if you can kind of take this both ways. In other words, people that have these sightings, there are plenty of other people that can sense energies, and even if it's only once in a while, that they pick up sort of like light coming from, like auras or lights coming from other people that will come and go. So I wonder if it's something connected to that or something completely different.
Yeah, exactly the point. And there's like I said, this has kind of been going around a little bit. And with last night's show, do you think this is connected? Do you think maybe they're trying to get ahead of something, and this demonic residue, as I'm calling it? And again, just a sort of it's a sprinkle the fairy dust, make this not just a singular phenomenon, but make it actually contagious in some way. Like, I don't know. That's where this starts to get weird. And if that's the case, I mean, hey, if definitely the Vatican, knowing something like this might be coming, would certainly want to change the rules of what we considered holy and unholy, wouldn't you expect?
Yeah, I would say if it is something coming, then it's going to be because, like I just said, there have been reports of these kinds of things for years. So it's either they just maybe have not heard of these kinds of sightings maybe until recently, and they're getting ready to like address that now, which I kind of doubt because you would think being so connected to, you know, basically other entities, however, whatever you want to names you want to give them. Again, that's not meant to be anything against them. I'm just saying they part of their whole view or what they do is spiritual to a degree. So you would think they would have heard about these kinds of sightings. So then that leads me to think, well, then there must be something possibly that is going to be happening, and that would make more sense of why they'd want to get ahead of that as well. So, yeah, but I do think having I mean, just as zeitgeist, just the popular culture, there's so much out there about monsters and all those kinds of things and negative entities. I think that could be a factor in all this as well, and that maybe that's I don't know if there's something that's picking up at all for whatever reason because of the zeitgeist or whatever. I mean, obviously with comics and movies and everything, there's a whole thing with going on with Marvel with symbiotes right now for the last couple of years. I believe it's been a huge thing. They're just everywhere in that universe. So, and again, these are entities that are, usually dark, either black or red, and they usually have these monstrous faces.
Yeah, very demonic, distorted, like a Venom from Spider-Man. That type of symbiote, right?
Yes. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah, wild stuff. And so as part of that too, like this is sort of in the zeitgeist as well. The brain thing, right? The brain worm we mentioned a little bit last night, and we'll do a full show on that. But I think it maybe comes into play here, sort of normalizing a brain worm, normalizing these demonic faces, people seeing them, this Vatican stuff. I don't know, man. Like I said, if I was a conspiracy theorist, I might think there's some connections here of things they want us to think, and then things that may or may not be real, et cetera, so on. And I don't know. So specifically, the symbiote and RFK Jr. If you guys didn't hear the news on this, he's had some kind of brain worm 10 years ago or something, and says he had problems remembering things and all kinds of weird stuff, right? And then he seized it by the bull by the horns and tweeted that I'll take on 5 more brain worms today, and I'll still beat both Donald Trump and Joe Biden in a debate, which I thought was really funny. So, hey, man, talk about turning a bad look into a good look. You're like, hey, I'll take all the brain worms. I'll still beat these mutton heads because that's what they are. But not that I'm endorsing him for president or anything. I'm just saying that I thought it was funny that this is sort of manifesting in the zeitgeist through a presidential run like this, but then also that he kind of just was like, yeah, so what? I'm still better equipped than these morons, which I thought was kind of funny. But anyway, like as part of this, it is a mental construct. It is, as we said yesterday and even today, as part of this demon face syndrome, that maybe, just maybe, it is a parasitic actual aspect of something that's not quite terrestrial, let's say, very symbiotic, which is the whole point of me bringing that up.
Yeah, definitely. I do think popular culture always plays a part, and I mean, unfortunately, now it's dominated so much by and the people with all the money, and a lot of those people are in huge corporations and or government positions. So that's something you always have to keep in mind. I think that's all I have for now, but I'll stick around if that's okay, and if anything else pops up and there's time, I'll talk more later.
You got it, brother. Appreciate it very much. Me, loving that James Salcedo of Salcedo Paranormal, a dear friend and the glue of the show, the paranormal expert of Troubled Minds. Go check out his show. It's here on the network with us, KUAP Digital Broadcasting. You can find it, of course, at troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow James here. Please do that. Give James a follow and go check out the podcast and the radio show and all the rest. And appreciate it very much. And this show, I could do this in 20 minutes and then end it and be done, right? But you notice, for all my rambling, the richness of the conversation saves all that because of you guys. So thank you for bailing me out night after night, James, and all the rest of you guys for all the amazing calls and ideas as part of this. But that's exactly the point. Talking to people is a very, very good thing. And tonight we're talking about faces from the abyss. And I'm calling this demonic residue and visual anomalies. And of course, pareidolia in some sense, except IRL, real life pareidolia, because we're seeing demons. It's not I see dead people. It's, well, I see demons. Is that weird? That seems weird to me. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We're going to go in order. Hang tight, Daryl. If you can, please mute up. And you're next. Let's go to Mike in Colorado. Algorithm, what's up, my man? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight? And go right ahead. Oops, if you're there.
Hi there, Mike. Nice to see you.
And you as well. Good evening.
Very interesting show.
Thank you. Have you heard of this one yet? This weird.
I have. Thing? Yeah. And some of the people were saying, as you were alluding to, that they're trying to condition people so when they turn on CERN and the demons come loose, people will say, "Oh, it's just my illness." Which,
I'm just mentally ill. It's normal to see demons, Mike. It's fine.
Don't worry about it. Just go to work. Yeah. So yeah, I had heard about this, and the things that came to mind when you were first talking about it. One was the fact that when you took a picture, you couldn't see it the same way. Back, if you remember, I'm sure when we switched from analog to digital television, I was working for Dish Networks, and we always got these updates about what's going on in the industry and what's going on, why the changes. And there was an article that I can't find again, but it said that astronomers could now see another part of the sky because the analog waves were not blocking their electromagnetic telescopes, which I thought was truly mind-boggling to me.
That's weird.
And I do think there's something to a digital experience that our analog is always going to be different than how it shows up in digital.
Yeah, and so to me, there was definitely a clear difference which was a shocking part to me. I was like, wait, so why? This is a mental construct of faces. So what is that difference? And of course, the one thing that came to mind with me was some sort of resonance, some human resonance, or something to this effect that we're picking up, and as part of that, to see these demonic entities. I mean, it would make sense to me that you'd see it through that digital aspect, but apparently it doesn't manifest that way. Almost mirror on the wall, not representing yourself as you expect to be in the real world, or very, what's the other, Dorian Gray-esque with the picture on the wall type of thing. A lot of weird parallels here to some really bizarre things. And I don't know, is this normalizing demons, Mike? It kind of feels that way.
Maybe. I don't know. I see demons all around when I look at the news and look at politicians, so I'm not really worried about demons coming to this realm. We got plenty already.
Yeah, well said.
The other part that I've experienced this, and I think other people have, but maybe they don't look for it. If you look at a person in just face to face, and then you look at them through when they're looking at a mirror, it's different. And it's not just the angle, and it's not just the light and shadow. My ex-wife, I thought she was great, and I looked at her, and she was fine. Then there were times when I'd look at her in the mirror, and it was like, whoa, who is that? And then, 7 years later, I found out.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
No, it's okay. It's a good learning lesson. So then when I started dating again, I'd be like, hey, you're great. I like you. I need to see you in a mirror.
Yeah, well said.
I'm just kidding. I didn't do that.
Well, even so, it wouldn't hurt. I think that's actually a decent first step to are we seeing demons here? Are they hiding from us at the moment?
I've tested this a lot with people, and it could be light and shadow, and there could be some photographer out there who knows what's causing it. But I swear, people look different to me when I look at them looking in a mirror.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you notice yourself, right? I look different in a mirror. Like looking at me on this digital screen, I look way different than when I look in a mirror. Like it's not even the same person. It's bizarre. So I don't know. There's something to this, I think, and I'm glad you brought up the mirror, because this is maybe that manifestation of our shadow self, or you know what I mean. There's a lot of sort of that resonance as part of the conversation that I don't really know how to quantify it, but when you talk about resonant energy and this type of stuff, it feels like we're detecting this all the time and maybe picking up on that shadow self of ourselves. I don't know. I have no idea on that other than just a hunch. And who knows, maybe there's something a little more, let's say, not so direct and easy to quantify when you're looking at mirrors like that. But yeah, well said. Well said. Have you seen demons recently, Mike?
I have not seen demons recently.
Okay, we're good then.
Quit watching television though. So.
Yeah, TV.
That
barely counts.
No, I think you're probably onto something, because in person, not only do we visually see them, but we're picking up on their energies. And I think that energy probably helps round out who that person really is, be they good or bad. And if you look at them in a digital format, or if you look at, a mirror reflection, I don't think you get that. So I think that's probably, if we were smarter scientists and we had a lab and some stuff, we could probably figure this out. But I think there's something to that.
Yeah, well said. I think so as well. And as part of it, breaking down the human resonance that we're detecting as part of this, I think there's some magic in them Dar Hills that needs to be delved out. And stay away from them black mirrors, as you know.
Yes, I'm doing my best. So keep up the good work as always. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Appreciate it very much. Thanks for listening. Thanks for calling. Always a pleasure. You were the man. Mike in Colorado. You know him, you love him. That's Algorithm, and a good friend for a long time. And go check out his Rumble channel. Of course, link's going to be in the description down below, troubledminds.org/friends. Having great conversations over there. And a lot of amazing, smart people are a part of that group as well. So go, what are you doing? If you're not following Algorithm on Rumble, please do that. Just search it like it sounds, Algo space Rhythm, RHYTHM. And you will find Algo and amazing conversations. And there you go. There you go. Amazing stuff. And I think as part of this, the whole, as this comes together, idea-wise, I think maybe we are antennas, right? I mean, with that electromagnetic resonance, or the, psi powers, or however you want to call it in terms of like the paranormal aspect of things, then maybe there's something happening here that we are not picking up on, or we're missing. I wonder if, let's say it's not a mental deficiency that you start to see demons. I wonder if it's picking up on a resonance somehow, sort of tuned into a particular, right, a particular frame or something. I don't know. Anyway, so hope you guys are doing well tonight. Just hanging out, talking about this weird demon face syndrome and the fact that there is a divide in it. And again, it is as said, an actual disorder, a neurological disorder, as they say, but they see these in real people, but not in photographs or, digital representations thereof. So it does make me wonder how much of this we're missing. We're missing as human entities, as, part of that sort of Rupert Sheldrake, or who's the other guy? Is it Rudolf Steiner, with some of those ideas of human resonance somehow being something that we're always dealing with, we're always picking up on, but not really noticing as much as we should. You know how when like the person walks into the room and everybody gets the bad feeling, this type of stuff, right? Like it's all around us all the time, but we're not noticing it because we've sort of been deconditioned to notice it. I don't know. Anyway, as part of the conversation, that's what this looks like tonight. And I wonder what's happening with this, and is it truly Faces from the Abyss, as I'm calling this, because we're talking about this demon faces syndrome. And how weird does it get? I got some wild ideas, which we'll get to. Like I said, I don't want to dump all the really super weird stuff right out the gate, because then you guys will think I'm totally and fully insane. Which, I mean, we're probably past that. But you got to kind of stretch it out a little bit so we don't get all the great stuff right up front. But there are some pretty wild ideas as part of this. So you tell me what this is, and is this suspicious that a super rare disorder is now circling the zeitgeist? And it's still, like, this was just published May 11th, which was a few days back. What is it? It's the 13th. Yeah. So it's a couple days back. This was published again, but I first saw this about 6 or 8 weeks ago. So it is recirculating because, one, it's creepy, but two, if it's incredibly rare, why is it so prevalent? Because it's odd, right? Because it's odd. We got Daryl in New York coming up next. Anything to add, James? We'll take a quick break and then we'll get to Daryl in just a sec. Anything to add to what Algo said, or any other ideas, James?
Yeah, it's good to hear from Algorithm again. I do agree. I do wonder about that. What he said about mirrors is fascinating to me, just because of, I mean, how much have we talked about mirrors in this show? being, some kind of a way to see or sense energies and or have energies be traveling through them or collecting there. I think that's an amazing that point that he made there about that. I wonder if people that are suffering from this condition, what would happen if they were in a room with other people that are around them and they were seeing these faces, but then what would happen if they were looking, there was a mirror nearby and they were able to look at these people through this mirror? Would they still see those faces? Is it purely an electronic, or do all other mediums make faces normal, or is it just certain things like pictures or whatever, or devices, which is also an amazing factor as well?
Yeah, well said. I don't know the answer to that, of course, but this is incredibly weird. And so the question becomes, well, is this contagious? Because I don't want any bit of this. You wake up and you start seeing demons. And like I said, this article was circulating about 6 or 8 weeks ago. I saw it then. We didn't do it then because it was sort of a bad time for me and a bad time for the fam. And so I was like, I don't want to do something dark. So we kicked it down the road. And it's funny that this resurfaces a couple days ago and pops back up in my news feed. But then also that on the heels of last night's show with that weird, Vatican restructuring of how they're going to determine what, a miracle apparition is. Again, I think maybe there is some sort of link here. And at least let's say the zeitgeist link, which maybe plays or maybe doesn't. I guess we'll see how this stuff develops. But anyway, weird stuff. This is a malady called I can't even say it, whatever it's called. It's a very long word. It's got like 44 syllables, so I'm not going to say it at all. I botched it once, so I'm not going to do that again. But a link's going to be in the description down below if you want to check it out and read the article and try and pronounce this yourself. But it's spelled like this. I'll drop it in all the chat in case you guys want to practice saying it. If you want to call in, we'll make this a word game, and you guys can maybe tell me how to say this. Because yeah, I felt like I tried it 15 or 20 times, and I maybe nailed it one time, but I probably botched that too. So anyway, dropping it in the chat if you guys want to practice. That's the word. That's the malady we're talking about. It is a mental disorder. Sorry, not disorder. That's not fair to say. It is a neurological disorder, and it is where people see demonic faces in their everyday lives. Real people, but they do not see these faces in photographs, the demonic faces, or in this digital spectrum of the black mirrors, as we always talk about. So look, I don't know what's going on with this. You tell me. No true ideas other than wild ideas. That's really my role here, to kind of look at the world in a different way and to decouple from reality for a moment. So hope you guys are having a fantastic night so far, and I hope nobody is actually seeing any demons, because that's not my goal tonight. My goal is to wonder if there's something happening that we're not noticing. And and check it out. By the way, if for instance we had sort of an uptick in this particular malady and people started seeing demons, but nobody wanted to talk about it, how would we know if we didn't talk to each other? Okay? And I'm not saying it's happening. I'm saying if we didn't talk to each other, how would we know? That's it. That's as far as this goes, except, well, we'll go a little further. If you want to be a part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. We got Daryl in New York coming up. We got David on the road. More from James if he's got it. And, of course, your calls as well. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. More Faces from the Abyss, Demonic Residue, and Visual Anomalies, and your calls as well when we return. Be right back. More Troubled Minds coming up. And some special AI music cut just for the flavor tonight. Be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That is KUAP Digital Broadcasting. UAP is unidentified anomalous phenomena, KUAP, on the radio, right? Well, the unidentified and anomalous is exactly what we're talking about tonight. Faces from the Abyss, this demonic residue and visual anomalies. Now, this story's been bubbling around the zeitgeist for about 6 to 8 weeks. I see demon faces everywhere, and it is a neurological condition that has been traced all the way back to 1904. And as I always say, look, if we found this in 1904, this has been something that's been around for a long time. And imagine what this was like. I don't know. Just imagine, like in the 1500s or something. Somebody wakes up and they have this, and they start seeing demons everywhere, and there's no real medicine that can help them, because right, it's this is their reality now. This is true, and it changes their life forever because, well, now the world is full of demons. Now, and imagine the mind screw when you're able to look at somebody in IRL and see the demonic face, but then you look at a painting and you don't. I can't imagine. I would think I was like sort of maybe leaving this reality in some way. Like I had 1 foot in the ether and 1 foot on terrestrial Earth. I don't know. It creeps me out. It makes me wonder what the hell's happening with this. And basically, how weird does this get? And is this a normalization? Because meaning, if it's incredibly rare, they said there's like only ever been 100 cases or whatever since 1904. But then also, it's getting a lot of play in the zeitgeist. And so that's my fault, sure, for talking about it as part of it. But I'm noticing it, and it's recircled back 6 or 8 weeks later. Why? You think there's something here? You think it has anything to do with that Vatican announcement we talked about last night? Do you think there's some wild, weird stuff going down? I don't know. What is your theory? What does this look like? How bizarre is this? And it did ring a bell in my head as sort of a IRL Rorschach ink blot test, right? Yeah, anyway, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubleminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Just like this, let's go to Daryl in New York. What's up, Daryl? How are you? Welcome to the joint. Go right ahead. What's on your mind?
Hi, Michael. Great call so far. Great topic. I was thinking, remember when the Exorcist movie, came out? There was like a whole fear of, being possessed and demons. I mean, after Jaws came out, everybody was afraid of sharks too. So, after Alien, weren't we all afraid of aliens? You know what I mean? Snakes on the plane. We were all afraid of snakes.
Wait, wasn't J-Lo in that movie, Snakes on a Plane?
Was she?
I don't know. I know Samuel L. Jackson was. That's all I know. But wasn't she on that?
Yeah.
No, she was in the Anaconda movie. It was Anaconda, right? Anyway.
Something like that.
Anyway, you're right though. There was like a sort of this rash of wild snake movies, and yeah, maybe yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we all got afraid of. So I don't know. Then I was starting to think about like like I've heard of shapeshifters. And people have witnessed literally like men in business suits in their high-rise business office, literally in front of their eyes turn into an alligator or some type of reptilian creature, and then turn back into a human. Like they relaxed a little bit too much and they reverted back to their original
state
form.
Yeah, form. Exactly.
So people have seen, have supposedly witnessed that kind of, phenomena, and never talked about it again or never discussed it with, the person that turned into the reptile. Maybe avoided them after that. I don't know. A good way to ruin a relationship, keep that to yourself. So I don't know, maybe some people see reptiles, some people see demons. Anyway, what is this about? You can't see the undead in a mirror, from what I understood, right?
Yeah, so that's
like
part
a
of
vampire.
Part of the vampire legend, and not just vampires. I think you're right. It is some other undead. If my Dungeons and Dragons lore sticks, I think it is a thing. I think it's part of that. Because they don't really belong in this realm. They're sort of phasing outside of it. So if they walk in front of a mirror, you can't see them. So yeah, I wonder.
You see them, yeah. You can't see them in the mirror.
Yeah.
So that's one way to prove it. Make them, bring a mirror with you if you have that syndrome.
If you're,
but, you know,
just a FYI, guys, if you're going on a first date, bring a mirror with you because you never know. You never know. Sorry,
hey, you don't want to go out with a demon. I don't know, but who knows? One person's demon is another person's alien, so who knows? But you know, the U.S. government legally believes in demons because possession is 9/10 of the law. You know.
I knew it was coming. I knew it was coming. Sylvain said in the chat, drum roll countdown. We knew it was coming. Fantastic, Daryl. Fantastic. Yeah. Okay. So, but also, by the way, there's some basis in truth for what you said there with that Collins elite of the, the supposedly within the Pentagon, there's a group of people that think that aliens are demons, and they're trying to manage that process through some sort of religious ritual aspect, right? So there's what you said was a great joke, but also, by the way, it had a basis in supposedly actual truth. So I don't know, but why not, right? Why not?
Or are they going to try to blame all of the world's problems now on demons? You know, I'll blame it on the old demon, excuse. We didn't do it. The devil made us do it, you know? Oh, sometimes I wonder, if there's such evil in this world that they are really some demonic, intervention there that's going on, that are making people this, evil. Or Dr. Evil, or the bad guys, or whatever. I'm thinking even like 5G maybe, and holograms. Technology can probably perhaps induce a demon, image for the average person that has some sort of chip in them, or some sort of technology.
Yeah, for sure.
If we're going to be like becoming, superhumans or whatever, transhumanism is probably going to make people hackable, and maybe they can make you see things that aren't really there, and make you appear mad, as mad as a hatter, which, there's certain things I think that even a bioweapon could make you sound like you're mad. Like Morgellons made everybody sound like they were crazy.
Yeah, you're cutting out just a little bit. And I'm glad you brought that up because I was about to say that myself. I was about to bring up Morgellons because you start to see some weird stuff, right? It sounds almost similar to this malady we're talking about tonight, except it's not demons, it's something else, right?
I don't know. There was something very paranormal about the whole experience. You saw things that, you could point them out to people, and then they would see them. So I think they were there. I don't feel like I was hallucinating or imagining things. I don't feel like it was my imagination. I definitely videotaped plenty of stuff that was just seeing them. The Morgellons had some kind of fungal aspect that made my mind enhance, like some sort of mushroom or fungus. Not sure, really. I'll never really figure this whole thing out unless, somebody like Clifford Carnicorn, who's studying it so long, has come to a conclusion. I haven't really looked him up lately, but he's the man. He's the man to ask. But
yeah, well, there's a lot of science.
That, this could be some kind of technology, and yeah.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I go ahead.
Okay, just saying. So I got some articles that are linked down below as well. So how many dimensions of mind perception really are there as part of this discussion, right? Because this becomes exactly the point of, as Kelly said a little ways up there in the chat. Like maybe this isn't a malady. Maybe these people are seers somehow. And I do wonder if when you sort of give them 1,000 people to look at or 10,000 people to look at IRL, I wonder if many of them are demonic and maybe some aren't, or is it everybody, right? I think you'd have to have like a really wide test range of wide berth of test range to determine that, because I wonder, right? Like you always got to wonder if somebody is able to actually see sort of demonic forces within somebody, then, and again, believing those things are real. Like I said, you don't have to, it's just a part of the philosophical construct of the conversation, but like, how would you know if you, right? Like then that becomes the weird part of it for sure, as part of the discussion, 100%. And yeah, I'll, I saw you there, Bailey. I'll follow back up on the Vatican thing in a moment, but yeah, go ahead, Daryl. What you got?
Oh, I have a fantasy lineup for those people with that that syndrome. I could just picture, wouldn't it be great if they could be like a court of law? And yeah, that's a demon. No, that's not a demon. I mean, and what does that make the person that they're witnessing? Does it make them demons, or just makes them perceived as demons? Or what kind of energy is I think it's some sort of energy thing or vibration that they're picking up, that I don't know. And I agree, this made me think of that movie, They Live. When that guy put on those glasses, he could see who was like, I don't know, everyone looked like a demon to me, or an alien in that movie.
Was that Rowdy Piper? Was that the guy?
Yeah.
That movie, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was wild. Like, as soon as he put on those glasses, everybody, he thought everybody on the news was like one of them. It was hard to even remember anybody who wasn't. Once he put those glasses on, it seemed like the whole world was full of them. Was anybody normal? But yeah, it reminds me of that a little bit.
It feels like that. It feels like that. And funny enough, you put those glasses on and you look at the billboards and it's like fashion people. And then instead it's like obey, right? So obey, everything's like obey. But there is, look, and there is some truth to that, in that we're, all the things that we're absorbing, and we talk about this all the time on this show as part of recognizing what's being used against us, is the marketing, is these jingles are, perfectly curated for exactly that, like mind control. Like out here in Vegas, like I'm driving around, I'm just looking at these billboards, and they have like these scantily clad young ladies in bikinis shopping, saying, oh, shop at this particular mall. This is what it looks like when you shop there. What? Like, what are you talking about? I want those. I want the goggles from that movie so I can see what that billboard's really saying. I mean, I know what it's really saying, but crying out loud, seriously. Yeah, we all just shop in our bikinis now because, hey, why not? Dear God,
why
stop.
not, right? You got it, flaunt it, right?
Totally. Just ridiculous, yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. What you got?
The last thing I just want to leave you with is, if a demon ever goes bald, there's going to be hell to pay.
Of course.
That's it.
You're the best. You're the best. Appreciate you very much. The second you show everybody's on rim shot watch, they're like, uh-oh, Daryl's here. Here we go. Appreciate it very much. Thanks for always laughing with us, and thanks for always considering wild ideas, and thanks for being a good friend for such a long time, and thanks for being you. You're the best.
Thanks, Mike.
Appreciate the call. Daryl in New York. Give her a YouTube channel a follow. Link's going to be in the description down below. You can find her, of course, troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow Daryl here, and please do that. It's free to follow her YouTube channel, and she's got a Twitter account as well. Please follow Daryl, and always a laugh, always a great attitude, and this is why we do this, to make friends and to have a good time and consider wild ideas. And Daryl's around, tell a few jokes. Yeah, if I was as funny as Daryl, I'd tell more jokes, but I'm just not. Like, every once in a while I'll like smack the low-hanging fruit and take a joke, but for the most part I'm just not a funny guy. So there you go. But I do love to laugh, and I do love the Daryl jokes. We call them Daryl dad jokes. But hey, lighting it on fire. Tonight we're talking about Faces from the Abyss. Oh, by the way, troubledminds.org/friends. Follow Daryl here. Please do that. She talked a little bit about Morgellons there. She's got some of that stuff chronicled on her YouTube channel. Go check that out if you're into it. And that's a wild rabbit hole if you don't know anything about it. And then also she's got some paranormal stuff. She sings in English and French, and she does some karaoke on our Discord from time to time with a very talented group of people. So come check it out. Come hang out with Daryl. Come meet her. She's every bit as amazing and more as you see her on the shows. I've spent some time hanging out with the karaoke group here and there, and they're very good. They're very talented, but just a nice bunch of people. And if you're a singer, fledgling or otherwise, semi-pro or whatever, you're invited. Go pop in here and come say hi and come sing with Daryl. Join the Discord, troubledminds.org/friends. Give Daryl a follow. /friends. Give Daryl a follow. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Come sing some karaoke with Daryl. Amazing stuff. Appreciate the jokes. Talking faces from the abyss tonight. Demonic residue and visual anomalies, because we started with this. I see demon faces everywhere. And it's this long thing that's... I don't know. It's called prosopometamorphopsia. Anyway, I put it in the chat. If anybody knows how to say this, call me and tell me how to say it. Pronounce this properly. I think Mike had it over on Rumble, but I even butchered his breakdown of how you say this properly. But in any case, so imagine going to sleep and then waking up tomorrow, and every person you saw IRL had a demonic face in one way or another. But then you looked at a photograph of the person or a digital representation of the person, and they looked fine and normal. But IRL, when you were in their actual physical presence, you saw a demonic face. Is that not beyond bizarre? Very sort of a cargo cult, don't take a picture of me because you'll steal my soul type of thing. It's weird, am I right? Love to hear your thoughts on this. How weird does this get? 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Just like this, let's go to David on the road. What's up, my man? You are on Troubled Minds. Long time no talk. Welcome to the joint, and go right ahead. Hope we're okay. Good. What's up? How you doing, David, on the road?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. You sound great, man. Go right ahead.
Yeah, sorry, I'm a little inebriated. I've been home for a couple weeks now. I'm busting my foot, so
cheers, brother.
I don't drink much, but I did drink something tonight. So
nice.
Anyway,
All right. Two things real quick. Swift healing on your foot there, and rest up and get well fast. And then the second thing is cheers, Bubba. Let's roll.
Yeah.
Go right ahead.
No, this just reminds me of like this time where I had meditated for like a couple of hours, and I went into this deep meditation, and I met my shadow self, I guess you could call it, and I didn't know what it was, and it just, this face of I didn't know it was my own face, but it had like skin missing and just, really scary looking, and just was staring at me without blinking, and just, and I just took myself out of that meditation, and it scared me, and I didn't know what to think of it. And then 2 months later, I hear Clyde Lewis on Ground Zero talking about the other self, the shadow self, and he says, I don't know if I want to meet my other self because I don't know if I'm going to like what I see, and he described all these things, and I was like, wow, that's what I experienced. And I remember mentioning this to someone, and they said that I went through a lot of pain. I mean, that's my pain showing up. And I go, I didn't really believe that at first, but then I kind of look, yeah, maybe that's true. So there's a lot of self-discovery with meditation and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it's kind of a scary thing, but learning about yourself through meditation. But
yeah, for sure.
But,
okay. So I'm not calling your shadow self a demon, but I mean, hey, let's be nice to each other here. But I mean, right. but it kind of felt like that, right? Like you kind of that, as I brought up earlier when I first started talking about this, sort of that Dorian Gray aspect. You're like, okay, seeing like the dark parts of yourself, which by the way, we all got them, guys. So if you're so perfect, well, hey, give me a call and grace me with your perfection, because we're human, okay? And I'm not saying that as like a taunt. I'm saying that as a reality. It just is. And look, few things I will take as reality, because look, reality is a wild place. But I think for sure the human experience is a very difficult thing to deal with many times over and over, depending on how you look at it, depending on, sometimes you're good, sometimes you're not good, on and on, up and down, left and right, sideways, and all the rest, okay? And so it's not so easy to be human, and I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but that is one of the facts of the matter. And I don't typically deal in facts, I deal in possibilities, but that is one of them. And so I will not call you a demon any longer, my friend. But what I mean is our shadow selves, we have a darkness within us, and maybe facing that in that moment of meditation is, I don't know, do you think that you needed to see that? Did it teach you anything? Or did you just kind of put that in your back pocket and never go back to that?
It comes and goes. Like it's kind of like a memory that pops up here and there, and you learn something more from it. So it's like something I'm progressively learning. It's like it's in my back pocket, sure, but then at the same time it comes up and in different forms, and I go, huh, it's just something that it's something I'm continually learning about, just an experience like that sticks with you, and so it kind of, you reflect on it from time to time, and yeah, it's tricky. It's really tricky. Life is pretty wild and strange sometimes, and you kind of have to, you work through it, and yeah, I think it was helpful. I do.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Go ahead. What else you got? And I got some questions for you, of course. But regarding this, of course, the demon faces. But if you have anything else regarding the meditation aspect, I'd love to hear that, because I think this plays definitely. Meaning specifically, what if sort of the meditation aspect, your shadow self, leaks into sort of your waking world and is with you all the time, right? Maybe this is maybe what we're dealing with. Are these people touched in some way? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, tragedy, certain things that happen in life that kind of, when you go through bad things, you don't really think about it. It doesn't really, well, you do, but you don't, it's like you shut it off. And so it comes back up later in different forms, in different ways, and to teach you lessons. But I do recall where I was, just kind of like on the same subject, but now remember when Hillary Clinton was running for president, and she's on her campaign, and I was living with my uncle at the time, and he was liberal. He's really into CNN and watching CNN, and she was on the TV and on a campaign, and I was watching her, and I noticed her eyes, and they did this like vertical. The pupils did a vertical slant, like close and open again, and I was like, did I just see that? And you know how people have said stuff about reptilians and stuff like that, and I was like, that crossed my mind. I was like, that's really weird, man, because I saw this live, and so I said, let's, I mentioned to my uncle, I said, can we go back for a second and check something? He's all, fine, go ahead, and it was there, and I didn't hallucinate. Yeah, it was pretty creepy. I was like, well, was that a trick of the audience? Maybe someone moved something that reflected or something. I don't know, but it kind of makes you wonder. Is there something to what people have been saying over the years? About reptilians and seeing their eyes do that, their vertical. Pupil.
We get so that makes you somebody who is kind of a tinfoil tangling in that aspect. We've got friends on the show, as you know, that have seen these things in real life, in person, and kind of been like, wait a minute now, and even to the point where they were shown these things specifically, like they were sort of being flexed on in a way. Like, I know you see this, and I know I'm doing this for you to see, but. Right. What can you do about it? You can't do jack about it, because if that's the case, right?
You just observe and it's kind of like how I feel about my UFO experiences, where I've seen these craft in the sky. It's like as if they're showing themselves to me, like, here I am, but it's like, what am I going to do with this? It's not changing my life. Some people, it freaks them out, and all they can think about is UFOs. All they can think about is aliens. And from that time out, it's like, that's just not how it is for me. But it's strange how that aspect is. People adjust to things differently, and where some people take it and it just shocks them, and they're never the same. And for me, it was like, okay, whatever. I saw it. I probably won't see that again. That kind of thing. But yeah, it's like, yeah, it's believable that there's something. Don't know if they're alien, don't know if they're from here. I don't know. But there is something going on. And that's how I feel.
Yeah. Real quick, Raz over on, thank you for pinning that. I'm not sure if that was YY or Jason or Hiker Emoji, but pinned over there on Rumble is this. It's just another way to discredit people who see through the shimmer. There's another layer of maybe the conspiracy here as part of it, and I think so. When I first saw this was maybe 8 weeks ago when I first saw this article talking about the demon face syndrome, and somebody said that, I think it was I want to say the Secret Sun Speaks. What's his Chris Knowles? I think he tweeted something to the effect of we're normalizing this as part of a it's now in the zeitgeist as a tactic to kind of discredit and normalize a number of things. It seems very conspiratorial. I'll give it that in terms of seeing demonic faces. And then of course the bizarre part about seeing them in real life but not seeing, so if you see them in real life, this actual malady manifests as a demonic face. But if you take a picture of them and look at them on their device, it's regular and your brain sees them normally. I mean, how weird is that? Like this becomes a whole nother level of, like scrying the obsidian mirror type stuff that we always talk about. I mean, like super strange as part of it, right?
Yeah, it's almost like the whole the photography of spirits. When you don't see the spirit, through your eyes, but when you take a picture of it, it's there in the picture, in the image that you took, and you go, well, what's this double reality? Yeah, and it makes you kind of reflect on like the pareidolia thing, and then also say tulpas. Say for instance you read a book, and in this book it talks about demons, and then you put the book down, you finish the book, but then your mind is still thinking about demons, even though you're like, I don't want to think about demons, but it keeps showing up in your life. You keep seeing it, on street signs. Someone sprays a demon face on a street sign, or there's a billboard with a demon with a taco or something. It's just just different things that just keep showing up. So I don't know if it's the mind doing it, or if it's a thought form coming to life through your own mental focusing. So it's a tricky thing.
Yeah, for sure. It almost seems like, so again, sort of breaking it down between the actual human resonance effect of this. This is why I'm calling this demonic residue. Like, what does this mean? We're able to, as you described, sort of a meditation aspect, looking in a mirror, this seeing your shadow self, but then also the reverse is true in this case, where we're like, okay, so you wake up with this malady, you see demons all around you in your presence, but pictures of those same demons, if you go click and then look at it, are not demons. They're regular. It doesn't manifest. It's so strange. It's almost like as Alga was saying earlier, like there's some sort of like block. There's a I don't know, like a metaphysical block through devices and through the digital aspect of us seeing things visually and experiencing them. But it doesn't make any sense though, because the megapixel count and all the, I mean, look at the quality of the video. I mean, punch myself in the face, right? Like, I mean, without the 3D effect, it's pretty real. I don't know. It's a creepy thing. It's definitely a creepy thing. Anything on that?
Yeah, it does make me wonder. Like, say for instance, if you see like shadows of spirits or things like that in your through your own eyes, but if you have a video camera or some kind of device to record, would that show up on that video device, or are you able to see it through your own eyes? So it's like vice versa, basically. So what you're talking about is a device that's able to capture those things, but then you're not seeing them through your own eyes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So it's kind of like a reverse, not reverse, like a direct EVP or something, right? Like you take the human ear can't hear it. Oh no, it is a reverse. So the human ear can't hear it, but then you play this device and speak in these haunted spaces, and then EVP's electronic voice phenomena supposedly comes back. So, supposedly, like I said, you believe what you want to believe. Some of the stuff I've heard regarding that is ridiculous. Some of it, if it's real, makes me go, what? And so that becomes a thing. So it is sort of a reverse aspect of that same thing, because instead of the device picking it up, it's the human antenna that's picking it up instead on other human antennas, which is, again, a little bit terrifying. A lot of ways to consider this, of course, as different levels of like I said, the human antenna in this aspect. But I don't know. You ever seen a demon? I may as well ask everybody that calls. You ever seen a demon? Why not? Right?
I do have a story of a friend of mine who, it was probably around say Halloween time, where friends were taking pictures and stuff, and this one friend of mine took a picture of himself, and the shadow on the wall behind him had horns, and it freaked him out. And he only showed like one friend, and he wouldn't show the picture to anyone else. And he put the picture away, and no one had seen it. But something was messing with him. And that's a pretty creepy thing to take a picture of yourself, and the shadow behind you has perfect horns on your own shadow.
Yeah, for sure.
That's scary.
That's not good. That's not good. That's definitely some madness happening. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot here. There's, and I think the human resonant effect is something to do with this, but. Again, it's so rare. They said there's only 100 cases of this since 1904, but it makes me wonder how far back this goes and how many cases there were sort of historically. And imagine if I don't know, like we're saying, like maybe these people are touched, maybe, seeing through the shimmer, shout out Raz over on Rumble, this type of thing. Imagine if like Leonardo da Vinci, or like some of these geniuses of the old ways, the old days were afflicted by this, and they were, I don't know, doing the paintings and things to sort of escape the reality of the demons all around them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So wild.
Yeah. It's I'd say it seems like, I mean, like a knowing. Like some people have a knowing about certain things. Maybe they just have a knowing that there's some people that are just. Just you don't want to cross them, and I've come across some people like that where I've had an experience once where I had an argument with someone at work, and I told one of the employees that, I said, hey, don't mess with this guy. I'm pretty sure he had killed somebody. I just told him that, because I just had this sense about this guy, and of course this employee goes over and tells this guy and talks to him, and tells him what I said, and then later the guy comes up to me, the one that I assume it's done something really bad, and he says, "Do you believe in God?" And I said, "Yeah." "You believe in forgiveness?" I said, "Yeah." And then he starts telling me, just starts spilling his guts about how he killed his cousin.
Shut up!
And he's
up!
been running away from the law since from another country, and he just opened up because I literally knew that he had done this and done something like that, and just had killed somebody, and just because of the way that he spoke to me in an argument, and I just instantly hit me, and I just knew, and because I knew, I guess he felt comfortable telling me, like confessing his sin. I guess I don't know, and I've had that happen several times.
Yeah, with friends like that are gonna rat on you. Who needs enemies? I mean, I'm gonna go tell this potential murderer who you think was a murderer that you're onto him, right? You might turn him in. Hey, he was setting you up to be the next Mark, bro. What the fuck? Come on, friend.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, come on, friends. Come on, friends. Let's have each other's back, for crying out loud. What's going on? Yeah. But there is sort of something to that human resonant that we pick up on. Like it's there. It is there. And like I said, I made a lesser, a parallel to that earlier. It was a wrong word. I was trying to force the wrong word, the square word in the round hole. It was not happening. But I made a parallel to that previously when I was saying, this human resonant, when a bad juju walks in the room, everybody knows it. And so there's definitely something to that we recognize things that are unspoken, that are beyond body language, that are just this for sure,
like an aura.
Whatever that is, people do recognize that stuff, and that's absolutely nutters that you were able to pick it out and know exactly what the guy did without even knowing the guy. I mean, that's wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Needless to say, I'm not friends with the other guy that ratted me out, but
yeah, right. Come on, guys, let's be nice to each other. Cried out loud.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, and so that's the point tonight. We're talking about again, not just human resonance, but how this fits into this larger aspect of this. Seeing these demon faces everywhere, as they call it, a neurological disorder. Okay, but I don't know. As some people have suggested that this may be circling back into the zeitgeist for a particular reason, to sort of maybe mirror the effect of people who actually see demons. You're right. So, or no, not mirror, mask the effect of people who actually see demons. Yeah. So yeah, they're like, oh, you covering it up. Like you saw, oh, you only saw 3 or 4 this week. Yeah, you totally have this thing, whatever this is. Yeah. You can't pronounce it, so nobody can pronounce it. So whatever that big word is, that's totally what you have. I don't know. That seems like a something the powers that be would pull if they knew something was amiss and didn't want to say it, right?
Yeah, it reminds me of that movie, the Ghostbusters. You know, the original, where they're like talking about the end times and all these demons coming out and all these, and people are like, no, you know, it's not true. It's not happening. And you know, yeah, it starts happening, and they're like, no, it's still not true. So it's kind of it's like they're covering up what's in front of your face, but just, you know, like what you would call it, where they discredit people. And so you got people that are, you know, probably more likely going to start seeing these things, and they know it. It's probably already happening, and they're just putting out there like, oh, they're just not in the right mind, you know. So, you know, the more people that are going to start talking about it, the more they're going to discredit, because that way they can, you know, make it, you know, their control method to, you know, suppress the information, make sure that, you know, yeah, it's not real, guys, not real. They're just crazy.
Nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Did you listen to the show last night? We talked about Ghostbusters last night, by the way. Did you listen?
Really? No.
Yeah. Like I haven't talked about Ghostbusters in probably 6 months, but last night we talked about Ghostbusters, and now it's on your mind too. Wild.
That's funny.
Wild, yeah. Hey, why not, right? It was part of that the Vatican announcement yesterday. That's a wild show, but it does sort of mirror the idea of Ghostbusters as a. Like you just described, you know, the end times or whatever. The spirits are flying through New York City, and nobody seems to care until their dinner's interrupted, right? And they're like, "Hey, come on, get this ghost out of here!" It's so nuts. It's so nuts. Yeah, wild stuff. What else you got for us, my man?
Oh, I think that's it. Really, I'm just glad to have a conversation with you.
And
you guys have a good night.
And you as well. I appreciate you calling. Rest up, heal up. Cheers. Whatever you're drinking, you can tell us what you're drinking.
Oh, let's see here. What do I have? Margarita. The lime and, you know, good old stuff. Yeah.
Cheers to that. I got Miller Genuine Draft.
Jack. Yeah.
So you're doing way better than I am. You're doing way better than me. Cheers to that. Heal up on that foot, buddy, and get well fast. And glad to hear from you. It's been a minute, and always a pleasure. You're the best, brother.
I appreciate it. You have a good night.
Thanks, you too. You as well. David on the road, except he's not on the road. David at home recovering with a bad foot. Amazing stuff as always. Give him a follow. Link's going to be in the description down below. He's a truck driver, as you know, and as I always say, part of that invisible process. Our truck drivers don't get enough respect, and let's help him out. He's out there doing some shenanigans on the roads on his YouTube channel and showing us what's up with that. He's a talented guitar player and all the rest of that. So troubledminds.org/friends. It says follow David here. Please go do that. And thanks for the call, my man. Wild stories. Hey, this stuff, like I'm saying, it seems ridiculous when you say it in a vacuum, but then you start talking to people and you know, maybe talk to people that have had similar experiences, or talk to people that have, maybe know somebody that had these types of experiences. And then suddenly you don't sound like a nutter butter anymore. And so that's exactly the point of these discussions, is to kind of pressure release valve of, well, our own personal zeitgeist. Yeah, a great call. Appreciate it, David. Amazing stuff. James, anything to add to that? I think where we're at time-wise, about good. We're about due for a break, but unless you got something to chip in here, I'd love to explore that a little bit. What you got?
Well, great calls from everyone. I will just say the whole what makes it onto devices and what doesn't, and how all that works is just fascinating, because there are, like David said, there are people that when they take pictures of, you know, wherever they're at, whether they're just taking pictures or sometimes they're on investigations of sites that have activity, paranormal activity, or any kind of unusual activity. They will get pictures of things that they don't see themselves. So that is a thing, but also I've heard some people say that they will take pictures on these sort of investigations because I felt like I needed to take a picture of this one spot. I didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, but I felt there was something there, and sometimes they will still get images on those pictures. So the whole aspect of why things appear and why they don't appear on digital screens or any kind of photography is, I mean, just one of the another part of the mysteries of all this, because again, that happens, and yet you have this case you're talking about tonight. It's not happening. It's so I just wonder, yes, it is. I do imagine there can be this neurological thing that's happening, but also, I mean, like I said, I've heard cases of people that have seen weird things, and I wonder if it is sometimes they're seeing the darker aspects of other people sort of manifesting. Maybe those other people are having hard times, and when someone sees them and they're just this person that sees this weird thing around this person, or this person appear to change shape, they're just picking up on this other person's dark thoughts or dark their troubles, their dark side, if you want to go that way. Star Wars reference there, but unintentional.
Yeah, no, for sure, and I think that's part of it too. Like as David wisely said there, like somehow he just knew that guy had killed somebody. I mean, and I guess what, that's probably, let's cross our fingers, decently rare in the Western world, right? Where you kind of don't spend a lot of time around people who've killed each other type stuff. You know what I mean? So maybe that sort of resonant is. It stands out so much that it may be easier to pick up. Not saying that it's an easy thing. There's definitely an intuition aspect of it there, but I don't know. Like to me, look, the last thing I want to do is kill anybody. That's just it. And so, and again, not saying that, again, war is war and all the rest of the stuff, and evil is evil, and again, yada yada, right? All the nuance involved, and not saying, okay, but I am saying that that we need to draw a line somewhere, and that's a pretty hefty line. That's a pretty hefty line to cross. And so, yeah, I do wonder if it kind of stains you forever as part of that, and as part of this, maybe seeing these demon faces everywhere, as seeing that darkness as part of the person. So not only does their shadow manifest to themselves constantly and continually, but other people are able to pick up on it as well. Back to the UFO topoids and this type of thing, sort of that fear or trauma manifestations of things that maybe he's got a dark aura or something. I don't know anything about auras, and every time it comes up, I feel like a weirdo. But I mean, maybe this is the type of stuff that we're always dealing with as humans. And I don't know. Wild stuff. What else you got, James? Go ahead.
Yeah, I think you can pick up on auras without even seeing them necessarily. I have a perfect example of that real quick. I used to live in this apartment complex where they had like no air conditioning in the apartments themselves. And so there would be a lot of times in the summer, all of us would just be sitting outside the building because it was like 5 degrees cooler even out in the heat than it was in our own apartments. And there was this one night, a bunch of us were sitting out talking, and this random guy, walked up to us and started trying to talk with us. And the supervisor, like the manager or whatever, that also lived in the building, was there. And I was getting this weird feeling from this guy that walked up, and I was also feeling like, oh, this manager is not happy. Like I could tell he was like upset that this guy had just like walked up on us. And this guy was gonna like get kicked out if we didn't leave. And this guy that just randomly showed up did leave. And I wonder if he felt it too. He realized he sort of, he's messing with the wrong people, possibly, whatever he was trying to do. And it was just this weird, interaction of energies that I could just sense. I didn't see anything, but I picked it up, and that's how it played out. This guy just walked off. He was done. It's like I don't like this. It's like, well, yeah, you just walked in on a bunch of people. That's So yeah. So I think there's ways of seeing without seeing.
Yeah, this stuff is real. These seers, right? Which again is kind of back to the whole where we started tonight. Is is this a as they say, an actual neurological disorder, or or that they even call these people seers, by the way. That's the term, the actual medical term. Yeah, they call them seers. So, I mean, hey, you know, like, hey, yeah, amazing stuff. A great story there, James. And I think this human resonant that we're talking about is definitely in play here, and maybe, just maybe, it sticks into this particular thing as quite a bit more woo than scientific, or let's say maybe they entangle each other in this particular instance. But anyway, what do you guys know about it? Amazing stuff, James. Appreciate you very much. Hang tight. We'll get back to you. Got to take a quick break here. We're talking this demonic faces thing. Okay, I see dead people like that movie, The Sixth Sense. No. I see demon faces everywhere, and it is, as I said, they call it a specific neurological disorder. It's called blah 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 blah, because there's no chance I'm trying to say that. Like I said, if anybody wants to take the say this word challenge, I'm going to drop it in chat, and you guys can have at it and call me if you feel so brave to to say this word. Please do, because I want to know how to say this word. But yeah, I mean, hey, what if it's something else? What if this is not as a neurologically disordering things, but let's say touched in some way, or a psi power, right? As we've talked about in many different ways in the past of what was it? The fourth way. Shout out the fourth way over there on Twitter and Twitter X. I was going to say Twitter Twitch, Twitter X, saying we're taking back the term schizo. We're just taking back the term schizo. We're just doing it. What's up, Marcel? I see they're over on Twitter X. Speaking of Twitter X. All right. So anyway, look, wild stuff here, and love to hear your thoughts on this. What do you know about this? And it doesn't seem very psyop-y a little bit. If we're talking about this particular malady has only ever happened 100 times or so since 1904. And what if it happened quite a bit more before that? Or what if it's misdiagnosed a lot of times? And what if, I don't know, there's a lot of what ifs here. And what if, and how bizarre does this get? And as part of the wrinkle, why not ask the question, has anybody out there ever actually seen a demon? Why not? We're told this whatever the thing is called, not even going to try, is, well, maybe different than we ever expected. I don't know. Maybe it's not, by the way. Of course, as always, the normie take is, nah, come on, trust the science, Mike. Yeah, cool, bro, trust the science. Definitely. As the science always changes, trust it at the moments as much as you can prove is... And I'm not an anti-science guy, by the way. Just all the disclaimers, because, yeah. Remember the old days? Thousands of years ago when you'd chip a tooth and you'd die? Yeah. A lot of science fixed that. I'm just saying. But the world can be seen in a lot of different ways. What do you know about it? 702-957-1037. Have you ever seen a demon? We're talking Faces from the Abyss, Demonic Residue and Visual Anomalies, the IRL Rorschach Ink Blot Test. What do you know about it? Be right back. More Trouble Minds coming up. Your calls as well if you got them. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange. We're streaming on YouTube, Rockfin, Rumble, Twitter, and Twitch. We are broadcasting live on the Troubled Minds Radio Network. That's KUAP Digital Broadcasting. Tonight we're taking your calls as we talk about Faces from the Abyss. Now look, there's this article's been going around, a little bit in sort of these weird esoteric, type circles. I see demon faces everywhere, and it is an actual... like I said, a neurological disorder they're describing as prosopometamorphopsia. I can't say it. It's a long word. Somebody broke it down over there on Rumble for me. So I'll maybe I'll try and read that. But basically, look, it's like this. This is the weird part of it to me. Okay, so I saw this 6 or 8 weeks ago and chose not to do this because it was a dark time for us for a very specific reason. So I don't want to revisit that and turn this dark and combine the two things. which is why I gave it some distance. But now it's resurfacing. This I see demon faces everywhere. This is published May 11th, which is just a couple days ago, and it's back. This is back in the zeitgeist of, well, this particular malady. And so what I didn't realize then, when I was not reading about it in full and kind of trying to, as usual, the devil's always in the details, as they say. See what I did there? But in this particular case, it is true. It is very sort of mirror on the wall. It is very, the black mirror of the device, the obsidian scrying device that we have in our hands all the time. It's not obsidian, of course, but, sort of a representation of the esoteric obsidian scrying mirror, which is our cell phones and our devices, right? Our black screens. Turn your monitors off and see what they look like. Just get back to me on that. But so the bizarre part is that with this particular malady, this thing, people just see distorted demonic style faces. Okay, and that's the bizarre part. But one step further bizarre is that it's not with pictures. It's not with digital representations of people and faces. It's only people's faces in your physical presence. Okay, which creeped me out. I was like, whoa, what? And when we were talking with James there, as James smartly said, it is EVP-ish a little bit, right? As part of that, or this human resonant, or like I said, reverse EVP-ish, in that the human ear cannot hear an electronic voice phenomenon, we're told. Okay, and again, if you believe in that stuff. If you don't, that's cool too. Philosophical constructs, and also a plausible deniability, and agnostic in all the ways. It all counts, okay? It all counts. So whether you believe any of this stuff is fine, whether you believe all of it or none of it is fine by me. I'm not here to do anything other than talk possibilities, okay? But the point of me bringing up the EVP is that the human ear cannot hear it, but the digital device can. Now, in this particular instance, this particular malady, the neurological disorder, it's the opposite, where the human aspect of having a person in your presence, you see a demonic face, okay? But if you take a picture of them or look at them through your video device, it doesn't manifest that way at all. I don't know. Like I said, does it seem magical? It seems a little magical. I don't know. What are your thoughts? And a little magical meaning that, did you guys see this too, by the way? But just real quick, because I used this to set the show up tonight. A new chat bot came out today. Like there was that mysterious chat bot. It was GPT-2 or something that they were benchmarking and stuff and testing. Well, OpenAI had their, this is just a quick tangent and I'll get back to this, but what I mean magic is in this term. So Sam Altman of OpenAI said that, it feels like magic. He teased this over the weekend, and they were supposed to have some, thing today where they got together and were like, oh, we're going to announce some things. And there was all sorts of speculation. They're going to compete with Google. They're going to have a search engine, whatever. Like there was like a top 10 list of things they were probably going to do. Well, what they did is they actually released a new chat bot called, what is it? Chat GPT 4.0, like a little zero. 4.0, is it a zero? Is it an O? Anyway, so it's incredibly fast. It's incredibly smart. And if you're paying attention, it created this art piece behind me here and did the entire write-up. So it's a little wordy. It's very smart. It is very next level stuff. And anyway, but the point I'm bringing it up is because he used the term magic. It feels like magic. And just saying it feels like magic doesn't mean magic necessarily, but feeling like magic can feel like magic. You get it? Anyway, but if you haven't checked that out, check out GPT. It came out today. They did release it. I have access to it. It wrote the write-up. It is incredibly wordy. It's incredibly smart. But also, and there's, of course, every time there's a new iteration, everybody's putting out articles that are like, AGI is here, artificial general intelligence. I didn't get that vibe quite yet, but yeah. Anyway, so lots of stuff here going on with these ideas. But look, I don't know. I can get into the super weird stuff because that's really my calling card these days. Because I don't have to explain myself. Fuck it. I'm just gonna get weird. So this is the deal, right? So Where do we go? Where do we go from here? Anything, James, before we get to weirdness? If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. I'd love to hear your thoughts other than me ramble on. But I got some things to get to that I haven't touched. But anything, James, for anything that we said before I start to get super weird, because I'm about to.
Well, a couple of things. One thing I forgot when you were talking about EVPs. Now I've heard of a similar thing, the opposite, the similar, basically what we're talking about tonight, where people that are in investigations or just inactive sites, they will have audio equipment recording what's going on around them, and they will hear things or even see things, and those things won't show up on cameras or audio recorders. So this is a thing that happens in all those different ways, where it does or doesn't, and show up on technology, or does or does not register on our own senses. That's the amazing thing about all this, is how all that interacts. But I also want to comment just real quick on the whole the Vatican thing and then everything else going on. Isn't it that ironic in a way that, and this is probably like an obvious point, but I think it's good to mention it again. Isn't it ironic that this is all happening in the middle of just what's all over the any kind of paranormal news these days? It's UFOs and Bigfoot and just everything. And then now we have all this happening from a major religious organization that is going to be talking about how to define certain things and how not to. So I think that all ties together.
Yeah, and I think again with some of the stuff that we talked about last night, it does sort of echo into this conversation for sure. Which, by the way, like I said, there is part of that zeitgeist relevance, the synchromysticism type stuff. Like I said, I don't think of myself as some sort of mystic or anything like that. But what the but means not that I'm trying to qualify it. I'm trying to say that I'm trying to notice patterns in our news cycles. That's all. And sometimes I think I nail it. Sometimes I miss terribly. And so that's part of being human, right? But I do think there are sort of undiscovered gems of things happening on the underbelly of the news cycle itself that is probably more resonant than the nonsense they're shoveling us. And that's really kind of the point. It's that back to the synchromysticism, a little bit of Carl Jung and shout out Night Stalker, Derek, the official synchromystic of Troubled Minds. There's something to an idea being pressed into the mainstream. There's something to that. And I think maybe something a little more spooky than they would expect from us to understand and give it some credence of mind control, MK Ultra for the masses, as I've always said. But anyway, just to kind of clarify that. But yeah, there's some wild ideas as part of this. Let me just read a few of these. And so if you guys are using ChatGPT at all, check it out. It came out today, ChatGPT 4.0. But there's some weird stuff. So we talked about the dimensional perception, of course, this particular malady, I see demons. Let's put it up on the thing. Links are in the description if you want to read this stuff. I encourage you to do it if you're into the ideas. But this particular malady might involve the brain's processing, and this is where it breaks down, of live, multidimensional inputs, such as movement, spatial orientation, and subtle changes in expression, which is why it would manifest as an in-person thing instead of sort of a still image or a video, because you're kind of missing the aura of sorts, right? So digital screens would flatten these particular dimensions, presenting less complex visual data, which we know, which might explain why this particular malady, I see demons. These distortions do not manifest through screens or photographs or paintings or things like this. And again, sort of what came to mind as the discussion developed, and something that kind of smacked me in the face, is that I wonder if some of the ancient artists of old, the Renaissance masters, were afflicted by this and were painting things so they could paint things and see them properly and not see demons all around them. Yeah. Anyway, another couple ideas. We got Theo on the line. We'll go to, hang tight, my friend. We'll get to you in just a sec. So I want to make sure we get some ideas out as part of this and not just me rambling about the same three things. So how about this? Excuse me 1 second. I got to sneeze. Oh, sneeze button. Oh. That was a good one. All right. Sorry about that. So energy and frequency, which we've been talking about for most of the night, really. So these live human faces emit some sort of electromagnetic field and vibrations of some sort. This is very Anne Rice, very that the vampires see sort of the pores and the face just sort of moving and constantly changing and doing its thing, right? Like the vampire sort of supernatural, preternatural vision. Same idea, right? So digital screens lack these energetic signatures, and so we're missing them as part of that sort of picking up on the ideas. But now it gets to the weirdness when we think about, as I've been talking about for kind of most of the night, at least conceptually, this demonic residue. Okay, now think about this. So these particular distortions might be due to sensitivity to something known as demonic residue, lingering negative energies or entities that affect perception. Or, as David smartly said, he was able to pick up on this guy that probably killed a dude and told him he killed a dude. And you see, like, something happening, right? So digital screens devoid of these energies fail to trigger the same distortions. So there is sort of a separation in some way of the actual physical manifestation and feeling of a real person in your presence, and mirror on the wall. How's it go? Who's the fairest one of all? Yeah, there you go. See, that lousy Disney guy. And it gets weird after that. We get super weird after that. There's some ideas. Like I said, check out ChatGPT 4.0. I'm not here to show for them. I'm just amazed at some of the ideas that it can come up with. I was like, bad GPT, give me some, go deep. And it went so deep, I was like, oh crap, I don't know what 2/3 of this stuff is. I was like, oh, and I've been doing this, not that I'm not a guru, not a genius, not a seer or a mystic or anything, but some of the stuff it was telling me I'd never heard of. So it went rabbit hole deep when I told it, hey, come on, no normie stuff, no basic witch, give me deep. And it was telling me things I'd never heard of before. And yeah, so I think maybe we've turned a corner. Yeah, maybe. So I'll read you some of that as we finish this up tonight. And so you can see that maybe I'm not just the knucklehead I say I am, but I'll prove it to you that I'm totally the knucklehead that I say I am. James, anything to add before we go to the call here?
I believe you, and when you say that, no, I'm just kidding.
I know. That was a perfect alley-oop, James. I expected you to rattle the rim, and you were very polite, and you just laid it up.
But yeah, no, that's like this all goes back to, and we mentioned it earlier. How do we know that it's only just like anything, any kind of weird experience people have, whether it's considered paranormal or a neurological thing, which may or may not be. How do we know? Again, there's so much stigma to any of that. I think that's another weird thing. There is so much stigma against admitting anything that is weird, whether it's a state of mind or it's a weird experience. You get that same stigma, well, similar stigma to both of those things. And it's ironic that, that's the one is used to explain the other. Oh, you saw a ghost? Oh, you're crazy. And then, of course, the implication is there, well, then, and that means we can't trust you. That's all there. And so I wonder, I don't think we can ever completely take records of, any one thing at complete face value when it comes to these things, because they are just records of what has been reported. That's not necessarily going to be what has been experienced. And I think that's all I had for that. That
is a fact. And that's basically the perceived human resonance and the true human resonance, and the two things, how they just don't stick. They're not the same thing whatsoever. And that's very well said. And that goes historically back hundreds and thousands of years. So here's why conversations like this play, because there's a ton of stuff historically that have been forgotten or erased or worse. And so, yeah, 100% well said, James. As always, fire thoughts and fire ideas. You were the best. We're talking Faces from the Abyss tonight. Demonic Residue, I'm calling this, and Visual Anomalies. Of course, pareidolia plays, all the rest of this, mass hallucinations, right? All the terms, the scientific terms they throw at you when they're like, Well, clearly, my friend, if you saw a demon, you must be insane. So here's the clinical terms to so we can talk about this in our little office with our pipes and our leather chairs, right? Like and I'm just making some jokes, but also it's very trope jokey, and it's also kind of true. But also, how would you know? How would you know? How would you really know if you saw a literal demon? And do you think anybody would actually believe you? Becomes the question, right? Becomes the real resonant question here as part of this discussion. I don't know. Like, I don't know what I would do, to be honest. If I saw a true, actual, literal demon, I don't know what I'd do. And I don't know if I'd tell you guys, to be honest, because you all think I'm insane anyway. So maybe I'd tell you. Maybe I'd run straight to the thing and do a special stream to tell you I saw a demon. And I'm not making light of that. I'm just saying I don't know. I'm lucky enough to have never been in the presence of one as far as I'm aware, and so that's that. What do you guys know about this? Again, these people are saying they see demons. It's an incredibly rare psychological disorder, and it's definitely booming through the zeitgeist a little bit. It's come around a second and third cycle now. So I do wonder if it is a normalization process of, the second coming, as they say. You know what I mean? And I only say that wink, wink, only because of that Vatican news from last night. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show just like this. Thanks again, James. You the man. Let's go to Theo in Philly. What's up, my man? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? What's on your mind tonight? Go right ahead.
Hey, is this Michael Strange?
You got Michael Strange. You're in the right place.
Oh, all right. Awesome. Yeah, this is Theodore Kent. I'm just calling because the subject is so interesting.
Right on. Love to hear your take on this. Let me ask you first, before you start, have you ever seen a demon?
Oh, yes, I definitely have seen a demon before. It was quite weird. Do you want to know the context in which I saw it?
That's up to you. So I'm not twisting anybody's arms to tell me anything they don't want to tell me. Okay, so first, if you want to say just yes, I've seen one and move on, you're completely welcome to do that and give us your thoughts. If you want to tell us a story, you're welcome to do that too. It's up to you.
Yeah, no. I saw a demon under circumstances with my ex-girlfriend. At the time, it was like very, very strange. I think I've told this story before, but
I think so.
Regardless, I can tell it again.
It's the shadow entity, right?
But
yeah. No, you've told it recently, so okay. So you don't have to. Okay, so in your opinion, that for sure, 100%.
I'd rather not tell it again, just because it's boring.
Yeah. No, it's not boring. It's not boring.
Yeah, I've definitely seen something that was not like a usual entity, but yeah.
Okay, sure. So let's skip it. Recently, Theo called and told us this exact story. Shadow person-esque. There's some other wildness to it. So do check that out. I can't remember. Do you remember what show that was on when you called? This is the worst part of Troubled Minds is I can't ever recall when you called and told us that. So I can point back to it.
I've got no idea.
Yeah,
it's like my one interesting paranormal story to tell. So I've got no idea which episode that was on, but I've told it here. I've told it on a lot of places that are on the internet. But yeah.
Okay, fair enough. So go back and listen to the entire Troubled Minds catalog, and you'll find that story. It's semi-recent.
Exactly.
It's when
that's the way you find it.
That's the way you find it.
Definitely the way you find it.
It's actually been in the last 3 weeks or so. So there you go. We'll narrow it down for you. But okay. So anyway, let's skip that. You have seen it. We've heard the story. So what is your take on this? People seeing demonic faces and normalizing this in the zeitgeist as this story continues to make the rounds weeks and weeks and weeks later. I think it was about 8 weeks when this popped up, and it's continuing now. Now, what's happening here? What's your take? And is it propaganda? Is it true, actual, as they say, neurological disorder? Or just what's your take? Go right ahead.
Oh, so I've got no actual clue, but I do believe that there are certain artists who have seen it throughout history. One of which I would say was Herminius Bolsch. If you guys know that guy, he was a Dutch artist and a painter of tritex. If you have ever heard of those, but those are 3-panel kind of exhibitions of the world. And he did a painting of something called the Garden of Earthly Delights, where he depicted both heaven, hell, and kind of purgatory. But yeah, I think, like, he was somebody who was very much in tune with, like the filament, like the filament that there is between like actual heaven and hell and somewhere else. So I don't know if you guys have ever seen like Herminius Bosch, but yeah, he was like a Dutch master.
I'm sneezing, pardon me. Yeah, that doesn't ring a bell to me. The firmament, as you said, I think is what you were saying there is. I've definitely heard of that. And it goes back thousands of years. That the idea of the separate, it's basically the veil is what we're talking about. The separation between the physical world and the metaphysical world. There's a curtain there, a veil of sorts. But yeah, so I'm not familiar with the artist and the things you're describing, but please link that because I'd love to read it. I'd love to learn everything I don't know. So tell me all about it.
I will do my best to like link that, but like he was just like, I mean, like his visions of hell were just, I don't know, like kind of like incredibly amazing, like just, I don't know where he got them from, but he inspired in terms like, like a bunch of like Japanese artists. Like if you ever like heard of Berserk, who I can't remember the name of the artist off the top of my head, but he drew a lot of his like, like art from Herminius Bosch. But yeah, so sorry if I'm being vague.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'm with you. Like I said, if you're, I know you were on the Discord. If you can drop a link in there, I'd love to kind of read up on this stuff because you never know what kind of threads. Now here's the weird part, right? So here's what I'm fully expecting.
Yeah.
For you to hopefully do that and drop me a link. I go read some of it and it claps back to exactly what we've been talking about for like the past 3 weeks or something, right? I mean, this is the type of stuff that happens when we talk to each other. We're sort of resurfacing these synchronicities all the time. So if you can, I'd be super willing to dig into that a little bit and see if there's something here. To me, I'm pretty sure there is, but just a feeling. But okay, so go ahead.
I would definitely attempt to do that for you. Yeah,
I appreciate that. What else you got? Go ahead.
I don't know. What other questions do you have?
Regarding this sort of, I don't know. I guess the question becomes, what would propaganda look like if you were trying to hide the presence of demons? Right. That's the obvious one here. That's like, okay, so if this is sort of circling back in the zeitgeist, and this is a particularly rare phenomenon, 100 times since 1904, as we're told, then it's. I mean, it's not really a story. It's kind of nothing, right? I mean, statistically, it's zero. However, it's 8 weeks later, it's still coming back strong because, demons sell? Or, well, is this a way to maybe make people not believe a demonic face when they see it? You see what I'm saying? I'm not accusing the people who wrote this of that, but let's say that the zeitgeist has its way of sort of pushing these stories back, and for some reason, some way, somehow, maybe even the person who wrote it or the idea that bubbled up was not it was just a cool, interesting story, but because it's still sort of trending in some way, that maybe there's a force behind it. You know what I mean? And I don't mean like a magical force. We could say something like that, but also maybe like a nefarious force that's like, yeah, let's kind of press this up, and then when the shit starts to go down and people start to see demons, they'll know this is why, right? You know what I mean? Like actual propaganda to hide the presence of demons. And again, drinking a lot of maybe juice here, or maybe not, but I don't know what's your take on that.
Yeah, if I was going to like hide the presence of demons, I would just, do the classic thing that I think many other people have said before, where there are no demons. There is no evil in this world. Everything is completely and totally subjective. There is no absolute truth. There is no absolute bad. All of us are to decide unto ourselves. But that is such a kind of crazy contradiction in things, because I live in this world where I think that I am totally objective. And that's also complete insanity.
Yes, it is. I agree with you there.
Have you ever thought, like why you were brought into this world? Did you decide to be brought into this world? have any of the listeners decided to be brought into this world?
Some people say yes, that it's a thing, that it's part of the contract, that you decided to manifest as you in this particular time frame and you as this particular entity. Yeah. So I'm not saying that's the truth. I'm saying I've heard people say this as part of a sort of a reincarnation, soul recycle contract sort of stuff, where people choose to come back for whatever reasons. I don't know. As always,
no, that would make a lot of sense to me. Like, but I just can't think of a possible reason I would want to come back. You know, I do my best, like, you know, like to contribute myself to this lifetime in any possible way that I can, but I am not sure that I contribute enough. But why do I have to do this? You know, at the end of the day, it just seems kind of insane, you know, like, I don't know. I do feel, and I do not mean to get depressing to you or any of the listeners to this, but, like, you know, I just feel like, you know, like, I'd rather just not do any of this. The absolute shame of, like, I don't know, just, like, parts of me that I've been given, like, I'd rather not exist with this. So yeah, I don't know. That's super depressing, but
yeah. Well, I think it's the human condition and the human experience and sort of that staring at the void. You know, once you understand that death is here and it's coming, and it, you know, it's always marching closer and closer. There's a lot of ways to look at it, and certainly that's one of them. That's by the way, the Stoic mindset, Stoic philosophy says that if you don't think about death every single day, you're doing it wrong, because it allows you to live your life to the fullest. If you don't think about the end, whatever the end is, because you can't decide when it is, it just comes, it happens, and sometimes it's sudden, and sometimes you live 100 years, and yeah. So hey, look, I have a natural ability to sort of turn negative things into positive things, and so I think you're onto something here, and maybe look into some Stoic philosophy, my friend. I think you're in the right place, for sure.
Perhaps I prefer the Gnostic philosophy, you know, but, like, I could be wrong, and I do not want to depress anybody else. You know, my business is not depressing other people, so yeah,
it's all good. I feel you. I'm just saying that there's a positive way to look at that too. It's kind of like a lighting a fire under your ass, and like, hey, you know, the end is nigh, because it is for all of us. And again, not to be depressing, and I'm not saying
yes, of course.
I'm just saying that we have a hard time as humans picking that point, right? And so us thinking about it as an imminent thing, and cross your fingers, all of us live for another 75 years, that it's still an imminent thing. That's not a very long time, especially when you're busy all the time and trying to make things happen and trying to, like you said, do good things. It's okay. Do some good things. Some good things in the world. Butterfly effect and all the rest.
Just to be clear, like, I don't fear death. You know, I just fear infinite life. That's the thing that, like, gets me a little bit more afraid. You know.
Yeah. Well,
you're afraid that I might be stuck in this cycle.
I feel you. Go read Anne Rice. It'll send you down a tailspin. But the vampires. Yeah. So the vampires and Anne Rice, just real quick to qualify what I said there and make it make sense. They live forever, and they learn to love humans, and the humans they love die. And so they can't live more than like a human cycle and a half or so before they turn into a depressive spin and have to bury themselves under the ground and then come back like 100 years later. It's like even immortality has its downsides. So because the people around you, you're losing. And there's a trick. There's a dark trick, as they call it, where they could actually make those people immortal, the people they love. However, the people they love is because they can read their minds. But the second they make the people they love a vampire and immortal as well, then they can no longer read their minds. So it's sort of, they become an entity, a black box model that they cannot love as much as they did previously, and they are now a mystery to them. So it's a curse either way. Anyway, just a quick take on immortality there through the Anne Rice lens, and I think
fair enough.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. No, that's great. If you ever want to go into my take of immortality a little bit deeper, I would love to. But thank you for having me very much on your show. I appreciate it.
And thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. And we will definitely do a show on immortality because it does bubble up from time to time. So I'd love to hear your take. You're the best. Appreciate you very much. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. That's Theo. Theo in Philly. Check it out. He didn't bring us poetry tonight, but I'll forgive him because he's usually lighting poetry on fire when he calls in. Yeah. Hey, look, a lot of wild and weird ways to look at the world, and that's why we talk about this stuff as part of the great conversation, as I call this, egotistically. But Matt in California, Matt Tell has backed me up and also calls it the great conversation. So there's two of us. What say you? We're talking about, again, this eerie distortions seen in this malady. I'm calling it a malady because I can't pronounce the real word, but it's a neurological disorder called prosopometamorphopsia. Anyway, links in the description. You guys can check that out, read it yourself. And if you know how to say this, just call me and tell me, please. And then we'll sort all that out instantly. Okay. So anyway, Faces from the Abyss, this demonic residue and visual anomalies. So there is a massive aspect of pareidolia, mass hysteria that kind of fits with this. But also, I've coined the term demonic residue, meaning that if you have some sort of let's say a particular evil entity, an evil person, like David said earlier, maybe not evil, forgiven even, right? Can an evil, the deepest evil be forgiven philosophically? I don't know. That's probably a conversation for another time. But let's say there's still a demonic residue on an evil person, even though they've reformed and are working their bestest to do their bestest for the rest of the years counting. Right. You see what I mean? Does it take away the darkness? I'm not so sure. And it is, again, philosophy in all the ways. I don't know. No answers, more questions from me, and a lot of wild ideas here. And I'll get into some, I promise you, as we wrap this, I got some wild ideas. I caught you, James, on your story. I'd love to hear that as well. So we'll have time for James and his story. He's got a story to tell us as well regarding a particular entity. And then I've got some really deep rabbit hole stuff that 2/3 I've never heard of. So yeah, got maybe troubled minds over the next weeks are going to get even more weird. Anyway, 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We'll put you on the show. Easy as that. Let's go to Kelly in Colorado. What's up, my man? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike, and James is here as well. Go right ahead, sir.
Good evening, fellas. How you doing?
Pretty good. You sound great. Go right ahead, sir.
Thank you. This is a good one. It's kind of like we talked about one on another show, but this where do we go with this one first? So demons, like people, even religious people, I noticed mostly more with religious people on this, is that, you know, to them, if it's unknown, it's more or less a demon. You know what I mean? They call everything a demon. And aliens, they call them demons instead of like an alien species, you know. And that's what a lot of people, I guess, throughout history may have called something that they have never seen before. And that's an interesting question, is what does a demon look like? You know what I mean? So for me, you know, people think it's like what the movies have put out, like a demonic face or weird entity, something that's like half beast and half man that looks all distorted or something. But if you go by some of these religious books, even the devil himself comes at you as a beautiful man or a beautiful woman. So I don't think people really understand what a demon can really look like. In my eyes anyway, I'm just going to put it that way. And I don't think people understand, you know what I mean, some of the concepts of what a demon, you know what I mean, they think of something like, the Hollywood would portray. And I'm not saying some of them might look like that. But even though then, how do you know that they're not, you know, shape-shifting demons? You know, they don't have one form. because if they're demons, they're not part of this realm or this dimension. You know, so going down into one of these rabbit holes, you know, that's what I put together. Is when I talk about, like with Toth, how he talks about those demons from a different vibration, or they call them just these dark entities, or, you know, I mean, kind of like, I don't know. They see, he calls them, you know, like a reptilian head, you know, but he says serpent headed when the bell is lifted, right? So if these things are running around and can shapeshift, right? What do you know? How do you know what you're? I mean, you could be standing and talking to one and not even knowing it.
Yeah,
is my, you know, more. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So that's exactly the point. When if we're dealing with entities from elsewhere, from afar, whatever that means, right? Whatever that even means, then certainly our definitions, as I always say, are inadequate. Period. They're just going to be, as you know, part of the human condition, because we can't fully understand that yet, or maybe ever. Maybe we're sort of doomed to never sort of fully understand that realm, whatever that is, right? And maybe there's multiple of those realms, but basically what I'm describing is the trickster spirit, the trickster identity of, you know, we talk about the Ouija board and, you know, great grandma showing up or whatever and saying that, you know, I've been watching you, Mike, you're doing a good job, right? But how do you really know if you're communicating with an entity from elsewhere that it's really great grandma? Becomes the question. That's the eternal question of entities from afar, is that you can't really know specifically what they are, because you can only really go off intuition and some other really human feels that probably don't play in that realm at all. You know, does that make sense?
It does make sense, because it goes with your show, because those guys that, you know, like I commented on it, maybe they don't have a you know, like people think that people that have, like, it's a disability or something, you know, and maybe it's not. He could see the difference. He can see your grandma, and then he could see something else that's not your grandma, or trying to be your grandma. You know what I mean? So those people are the seers. These are the ones that, you know what I mean, that maybe that, you know, because look how many times throughout history they're saying, how many times do they even know before that, or even after? Because some people might just live with it anyway. Excuse me. But it's kind of like that movie where the guy wears his glasses. You know, you could see those guys. They look like demons or whatever. You know, the dead walking around, and he takes them off, and it just looks like regular people. It's the exact same, like, type thing. But that's, you know, and you guys were talking kind of auras, and that's why I kind of mentioned, you know, that guy named what's his name? Hold on, Walter Kilner, right? His book is called The Human Atmosphere, and he was the one that made those goggles that were made out of Dicenian glass, where he says that you can see, by wearing them, you can see from the auras of, like, higher dimensions. Some people say, like, there was another military lens, but it wasn't Dicenian glass. It was another goggle that they had, and they said pilots and even Army could see. They start seeing demons, what they were calling demons too. They were flying things that they didn't see, but they other people, you know, like, didn't have the glasses on, and were asking them, "What are you guys shooting at?" And that's when they were telling them, "I can see these demons." So the story is that they took them all that stuff away from the military, and then, you know, kind of like, I don't know if they shoved it away or what, but Walter Kilner, you know, they came and took all his stuff too. There's a story about him, took all of his stuff about it, but I don't know how exactly. It's not only just the material itself that they were using, the Dicenian, which you can get it from coal tar, but it's also the glass that he was using, and then he was sandwiching that coal tar in between the two pieces of glass, and that's the way you could see. Because he won, like, a bunch of stuff for, you know, you could see, he proved the fact that everybody has an aura, and you could see it. That was the thing that he was actually coming across.
Yeah.
But when he made his goggles, that's when he found out he could see other stuff. He claims to be the fourth and fifth dimension.
Which is like that, as Daryl said earlier, right? You see that movie with Roddy Piper with the goggles, and you put them on, and everything says "obey." What's that movie called? Right? It's similar, right?
Yeah.
So Kelly linked this in the Discord. If you guys haven't joined the Discord, you're missing out. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link on top. They live, says yes, Austin. So The Human Atmosphere by Walter J. Kilner. I don't know anything about this. This is the first time I'm hearing this. This sounds incredible and right down our alley. So I'm going to dig into this. So thank you again. As always, this is why we talk to each other, surfacing stuff, information. Look, you believe what you want. You of course, Kelly, I'm not going to tell you anything. You already know we've been friends for a long time. But everybody else out there, believe what you want. But don't turn down information if it's handed to you. These may be the synchronicities you've been waiting for maybe years or months or weeks or who knows. I mean, and this is exactly why we do this. This is the whole point, to find information we would not have found otherwise and share it with each other. But yeah, great stuff. The Human Atmosphere. I love the title. It sounds very Troubled Mindsy for sure. Yeah, amazing stuff. Go ahead. What else you got?
Yeah, it's a pretty good book so far. Talks about some crazy stuff, but most of it's like it's talking about the auras of people, and like the different stuff you could see. But I'm trying to remember, what are those demons called that, they say they latch onto you? They're like an ancient one. Or something.
Oh, okay. I was going to say the hitchhiker ones from Skinwalker Ranch. Those ones.
No, I just can't remember. Maybe it'll come to you when I'm talking. But
okay, I'll think about it.
So there's other stories too about like how these they're more like you would call them. Other people have called them like a dark energy or energy vampires. You know what I'm saying? So these energy vampires are just kind of like that. They're just sucking the life right out of you. The guy this one guy drew a picture of what it kind of felt like. And he drew this weird creature sitting on the back of on his shoulders, on the back of his neck, kind of on his head. And it was more like it kind of looked like, and the insect he kind of described, what it would feel like. It's like, kind of like a suction, where the suction on the back of his neck and his brain, it just sucking the life right out of him. Or he just, depression, just dreary thoughts all the time. You know what I mean? Where it's just, you're just questioning yourself and your livelihood as who you are. You know what I mean? And that's where he was explaining, and just kind of like, what is that other man? I can't remember those demons like that, but yeah, that's just where they're. I wouldn't say like the trickster ones, but these ones are the ones that are gonna latch on you, and depends on if you allow those things to, drive you, or control your life, and they will too. You know what I mean? It's just a type of, I wouldn't say like, even if it wasn't dark energy or something, but like these energy vampires, same thing. You walk into a room and you can feel those. Some people, I don't know if they feel like they know they are, or they're feeling like that at the time, but other people, they're drawing energies of that. So that's why I always use like different amulets as well to protect myself, enhance my stuff, or even, trying to counteract everybody else that's around me. Because, there's times you can walk into a room, they say you can like, cut the air with a knife, you know what I mean? That's that type of feeling like that.
Yeah, a couple of comments from the chat. So Rayovan and YY, so YouTube and Rumble respectively, are both saying incubus, succubus. Is it that?
Yeah, it's kind of like that, but yeah, it's the same thing. But those incubus, succubuses are, they're male or female. Those are the ones that I think back then and too, they were like in these areas too, where like the old whorehouses, I guess you would say, back in those times and stuff like that, where they're just exactly like that, just sucking your energy, your life out of you, or even just kill you. But like, why would they kill you? So, you know what I mean? These things are going to want to latch onto you and feed off of you. Now, if you go with that Thoth thing I was talking about, like these demons that come from the deep, trying to gain great power, maybe they're trying they no longer need humans. You know what I mean? Maybe that's right. The whole reason for these AIs or these AI programs, to where we think they're programs, but yet they're like could be a demon. You know that they're not part of this world. They need all this information, and all these people are dumping all these information and feeding these AI programs. You know, to catch them up to where to know about this world. You know what I mean? And then you don't even need the human anymore. You can just start making robots or AI programs or whatever, because they're not of this world, like what we would think. And unless they, like latch onto you, and then run it through it that way. It's kind of like those insects, you ever seen those insects where, actually the insect's dead and you can see like all the way through it, but it's like another insect inside of it, a parasite, that's controlling this thing. It's moving it around. It looks like the thing's alive, but it's actually dead. These people would like put this insect inside the water and it, that parasite would crawl out of it because it didn't like, whatever it was, they were dunking it into. But yeah, that's the exact same type thing.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I think even if you don't believe in demons, I think metaphorically negative energy plays in all this. As always, there's a lot of ways to consider this, and I know that we're late in the night for disclaimers and whatnot, but I'm just saying that you think about this stuff deeply, and even if you're like, well, I don't know if I believe in that. Well, surely you believe in negative energy. You've walked into a room and somebody, how they say when somebody sucks the air out of the room, right? Somebody that just these people exist, and you see it, you feel it, we all feel it, and so the problem becomes, well, what is that? It's definitely an energetic thing, and so as part of this, well, here we are considering ideas. Yeah, amazing stuff. What else you got? Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, it's like the saying is misery loves company. You know what I'm saying? Like these people are they're out there. Don't get me wrong, because there's some people like I've met them and I tried my hardest to try to like even make them crack a smile, and they just don't. You know what I mean? But another one too, just again with the old school stuff about demons is like with King Solomon. He built the temple with using these demons, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand what people think a demon looks like. You know what I'm saying? So if maybe, I got two actually books, but one of this one's a little bit better one, right? But each one of these demons have their own seal, and the seals are the one there's the ring that controls them all. Again, with that whole Hollywood thing. You know what I mean? They know. That's what I'm saying. If you really look into it, man, these Hollywood people already know. They're putting all their work into it, these spells or whatnot. And it's crazy because, people say they see demons like again, with that whole mirror stuff, or like that person said they had seen with the shadow. That's like exactly what I'm talking about. Like these things cling on to you. You can't see them per se. You know what I mean? But they're like, people say they see him or feel him, that, you could feel that. You can too. You can feel like a cold, people say like, it could be, they might think it's a dead person, but maybe it's one of these, dark entities or whatever that they are, moving about. Because I'm pretty sure that, that veil is pretty thin. I wouldn't say in some places, but I'd say in a lot of places. Because again, the human can't see so much, so you can only see so much, only hear so much. And maybe just like that whole he called it the Kilner screen. That's what he used, to see these things. Or that, the military was using the other one with the red lenses, that you can see them now. And that's the thing. Okay, so if King Solomon used these demons, and it said that it actually the whole wall, the building and everything, the whole house, the Ark of the Covenant, and you see these architecture. I mean, some of the stuff, man, I don't know what picked them up and moved them. I mean, a lot of these things like Baalbek, Lebanon, stuff like that. Just give you an example, but yeah, same thing. So I don't know, man. I would like to see what these demons look like. You know, how do we know that they're all bad? You know what I mean? Just because they might have a demon-looking face doesn't mean they're always, you know, like Beauty and the Beast. I mean, we don't even know what these things, you know, what people consider a demon. You know what I mean? How do we know that they're all exactly like everybody says? We don't know if they're all good or bad. You know, they call that with aliens. Why wouldn't you call that with, you know, with so-called demons?
Yeah, James says that a lot too. Is that, you know, not undemonizing demons, but you know, when you talk about entities, it's you know, like everything doesn't have to be negative all the time. And if you go back to, you know, biblical stuff, Solomon supposedly with was it the ring of Solomon, I believe, he was able to harness the power of demons and build the first temple. I mean, there's some stories there of demons not being completely and forever malevolent. So. And look, I'm not trying to make you guys invite demons into your home either. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I think definition-wise, we're probably in a foggy place when it comes to entities. And maybe they're from Alpha Centauri all along. Who knows? Like, I'm going back to the basic witch theory, but, you know, maybe they're just from a few light years away, like, fucking with us all along. Who knows, man? Because they could. They totally could technologically, right? That is, I mean, it plays.
No, I was just gonna say, just like that one demon that escaped that rock and over in Japan. I think they were called the 9 rabbits or something like that.
Yeah, what was that? I can't. It'll come to me. That was like a year ago, Kelly. You're killing me.
Yeah. It was weird. It's like, I think, wasn't there an earthquake hit or something, and it fell off and like it slipped off and it cracked in half.
Yeah, like broke open.
The demon was in there for like 900 years or something like that. I don't know.
The kit.
That's pretty weird. He's running around out there.
The kitsune, says Matzel. Matzel's on it. That's what it was. Yeah, the 9-tailed entity, nature spirit or whatever, 9-tailed fox. Yep.
Yeah, the 9-tailed fox. There you go. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Beware the fox out there.
There you go. Beware the fox out there. Yeah, amazing stuff. I don't know. So are you telling me you want to meet a demon, Kelly? Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to meet demons. I mean, I've already met my own demons. You know what I mean? You can't run from them, because if you do, then it just makes it worse. So you just might as well become friends with them, and, you know,
Amen.
That's what they tell you, and that's what I had to do once in my life.
Amen.
You know what I mean? I went down a deep path at one time, and I had to become friends, or even, you know, over control them, because if you let them control you, then it's over with. You know, that's why people have, like, you know, I don't know if it's, I wouldn't say it, they have I don't know, people have, you know, they can do drugs like forever and just stop at one time. Other people have, you know, might have a harder time. Alcohol, same as well. But at one time in your life, you're going to just have to say, you know what I mean? But at other times, other people just can't, you know what I mean? And you have to control it. Those are your demons. You got to control them, meet them, become friends with them. But as another demons, I would like to see something that maybe not part of this world or this dimension. Yeah, why not? I would like to see it.
Amen. And I would.
I'm open to possibilities of everything. That's why it's the troubled minds. You know what I'm saying?
Amen. And one day I'm going to shake your hand, and I will be. It will be my pleasure to do so. Because look, by the way, my demons are. Public speaking. My demons are the scary people on the internet. My demons are doubt and all the rest of that stuff. And look how that's manifested into amazing people like you and all the great friends we made along the way. So I think you're right. I think you're right. Facing your deepest fears sometimes may turn it into the best dream you ever wanted to have. So yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Yeah, man. All right, brother. You have a good evening. Good show, man.
Appreciate the call. Great call as always. Tell Michelle we said hi, and take care. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
All right, brother. All right, man. You too. Have a good one.
Thank you. You too. There you go. Kelly in Colorado. There you go. Fire stuff as always. Yeah. Kelly lighting on fire. Again, if there was ever a first caller, first consistent caller we ever had of Troubled Minds, it was Kelly. He was calling us literally like months in, and he's been calling us ever since. Been good friends for a long time. And that's the thing, right? Hey, you guys are scary. The wide world is scary. The interweb's scary. But look what happened. Look what happened. Yeah. Sometimes you face the demons and they're not demons at all. They're your fears and your doubts. is a great way to put that. Yeah. Great call, Kelly. As usual, amazing stuff. Appreciate you very much. Join the Discord if you have not. Kelly's dropping fire stuff on there in the Discord basically on a daily basis. Not to put any pressure on him, but every day, every other day, he's putting up, sharing links and all kinds of stuff. Not just him, but everybody else as well. troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link up top. Come say hi. Come meet these amazing people. And the only rule is don't be a douchebag. Just be cool and chill. And look, I get it. You think you know everything, meaning human entities think they know everything, but let's exist together and consider that we might be wrong together, and that's that, and just talk about ideas. So come join the Discord and come hang out. James, anything to add? We got the Arcane Observer on deck, and then we can wrap this. What you got, James? Go ahead.
Well, not too much on Kelly's call. Great as always. I do agree that the words and the names and all that, they are useful, but also definitely imperfect. And as I said earlier, I've had a couple experiences with negative entities, but I don't know that I would call them demons. I just know that I did not care for them. So yeah, just that real quick. I could tell my story real quick because it's not really long. If you want, I could save it for then. However you want to do it.
You choose.
Well, I'll just do it real quick, and then maybe even, of course, when the next caller can comment on it too. But so when I first moved into this apartment, which already had a lot of activity, other weird things I've talked about a lot in my shows. This is one of those things I don't talk about a lot because I don't like to push the negative side of things, but they do happen. I was in bed actually, sleeping, and I felt pressure on my left leg. And I started to wake up, but I couldn't wake up completely. And I saw a couple, like 2 or 3 of these cat-like entities, but they weren't regular cats, and I did not like them. And as soon as I woke up, I heard them growl at me, and I felt claws dig into my left leg for a second, just for a split second. And my eyes closed again because I couldn't wake up fully. And then I did wake up after that. And my leg hurt that night. It actually did hurt for a little while. So I don't know what that was, but whatever it was had some kind of temporary physical effect on me, on the world, on the physical existence. And I think I sort of pushed them off by just focusing on that, like, get out of here. So I've done that a couple times after that with other things, and so I don't know what that was, but I do think there are, there's all kinds of entities out there, human, non-human, whatever, and they all have their range of intentions and good and bad feelings. So that's just figured I'd share that real quick.
Hey man, great story. Thanks for sharing, and thanks for being you. Amazing stuff. And that's exactly the point. And so we need a James principle. I'm thinking about how to encapsulate it, James. We're going to coin some terms, folks. We're just we're making shit up because hey, this is our world too. We belong here, and we've got ideas, and we've had experiences, and we are also facing the eternal doom of the void whenever that comes. So the things we say also play because we belong here too. You're the best, James. Appreciate it very much. And I'm saying that in a positive way because I'm going to come up with some James principle. I'm thinking about it deeply. You're the best. 702-957-1037. Click the Discord link at troubledminds.org. We're talking about faces from the abyss. This weird, I see demon faces everywhere. It's called blah, 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 blah. But it's a rare neurological disorder, 100 cases since 1904. But it's been zooming around the zeitgeist for close to 8 weeks now, which again seems very, let's say not worthy of anything other than a headline, but certainly it's now become a thing in the zeitgeist. So what's happening with this? Is it connected, related, or is it not? I don't know. Love to hear your thoughts. Let's go to Jen in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. What's up? You are on Troubled Minds with Mike and James. How you doing, my friend? Welcome back, and go right ahead.
Hey, can you hear me all right?
Loud and clear.
Yeah, James's story, that's interesting. The way that the manifestation on the outside like that, where you have a physical, you don't usually, but then you do, and you wonder what it was, and then equating, especially when it's a negative encounter, it's unpleasant in a way, or that throws you off your balance. But I think that I don't know what it was, but I believe in animal spirits too. That somehow certain type of, in fact, a lot of I've equated that a lot of what could be interpreted as demonic activity could be linked somehow to some of what is basically animating some animal life, some animal creatures. That spirit unleashed, some of those spirits are mistaken sometimes as demonic. But I have had, going back through it, which I haven't had anything like this happen in a long time, so but there are only a couple of things that I thought, because it kind of started it all, with my concept of the idea of the demonic and the idea of, what is it or what was it? Like when I was really little, like 5, I saw like it went on repeatedly of seeing this dark hooded figure at the window sort of thing when I was like 5, and it went on for like a year or so at the age of 5 to the age of 6 or thereabouts. I've always believed, I was raised really religiously though, put that aside, but that as it was, I've always believed in supernatural things since as far back as the beginning of understanding reality. I've always believed. But going forward, I went through the typical thing where you have a coming of age of like finding your own way, and left a lot of that behind, trying to find a way. And I began with meditating, and I saw my own heart beating at one point, like in a deep meditation. And I was all in. Like I could literally like see the vessels in the heart, and if I could see in this meditative state this occurring. And just I followed that. I kept going with it and going with it. And then fast forward, there was a family friend, and I was just into witchcraft and everything. Like I was just into anything esoteric, anything about anything, and studying it, reading about it. And this family friend took me out to a hermitage. Just what they do is they take you out really far, out into the woods, and there was like a hut. Essentially, it was a octagonal wooden structure. It had a wood burning stove thing in it. You're so far out away from the roads and everything else, and you can't hear this. It's like a silence. In this case, it was almost winter. It was like fall, so you couldn't hear anything. They drop you off out there, and nothing negative or positive happened. It was just this experience of just being out away from everything and anything that was, and you're happy to come back. It's done. After the days or so that you do.
Yeah, nothing will make you appreciate modern convenience like not having it for some time. 100%.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. After that, there was some time that went by, and went back out again, this time to this cabin, and was out there, and what I'm saying the first time that I think it was something demonic, it came simply as it was like the whole room went red. Before that even happened, I had this feeling of being alone with yourself and everything. It kind of feels like something, but this is out in the woods, Mark Twain National Forest, basically, which is like in the Ozark region of the United States, and it's just in the middle of nothing. There's nothing out there. And I felt like this something coming, like approaching or something. It was kind of a weird, uncomfortable feeling. And I saw this is all mental when it was happening, because that's what happens when you're out in that. It's a very mental experience. But then it has an effect where you're projecting that out. I've been trying to like make sense of it. Their whole room went red. It's like this red color it came up like a smoke or something. And the whole room went red. And then this very strange thing happened where it was like something was aware of me in there, in the cabin, in the chair. And I was trying to go to sleep. So it was like a middle state, trying to go to sleep. And this red color, it was like it came over my mind and like it's not classically later on what I would identify as demonic, whatever this was. It was like it was somehow it like went into my mind, and it was as if it could see everything. It was like it was going through like beyond, it was out of my control. It was like something was seeing everything. And there was it was like water, trying to stop water that is coming in a flood or something like that. It was out of my control. And there was something that was like seeing all of my life or something. And it was as if it had found something that I was ashamed or uncomfortable, or like if it found anything, is what I took away from it. That there was an edge on, that it would just sit there and brood there, or something like that, from what I had understood about everything else I had heard about. And my thinking was that it didn't. And it was like it left. That red color left. Fast forward, I was continuing on this, and I figured that to be some type of what people would consider to be like what this intelligence was, what these types of beings were. And this was out in the middle of the woods.
Like a contact of sorts. How old were you again?
It was something.
Yeah, how old were you again?
At that time, I was probably 22.
Okay.
Something like that, 21, 19, 20, somewhere in that window of time.
Okay. Just checking. Go ahead.
Then, I got really into, even further, I did a lot of candle gazing. I did a lot of intentional contact making, seances, things like that. And, did it real confidently. I would intentionally attempt to contact the dead, to communicate with the dead. And I did it with, some apprehension, but absolute intent upon that this is every reason. This is every reason. And what is the way to finding. And it's funny because it's not just that you're trying to contact the dead because you think that they know more than you do. It's trying to contact your ancestors and things like that to make reach with them. Understand the preface of what you should do with your life or what you should do with anything. And I was in the midst of that. But I had even made up like a Ouija board to make contact. And I had done this, and this had happened, and I had done it many times already. Good several, I'd say probably like over a dozen times, in the past, in that moment with just the Ouija board contact, attempting over and over again and making contact with entities that were communicating all things of all manner that I couldn't be certain. I couldn't be certain. And I would do it with a few other people or these people over here or whoever would feel comfortable doing it. One time, there was nothing. It was a dead end. I wouldn't do it in the house. We'd do it outside. But this one time, there was nothing for the longest time. And then there was something that came through, and it called itself a dog god. And then a lot of things just started to get really weird. The window of time from the first thing, probably about a year. with about like a 8 months to 12 months with the first incident, but it called itself a dog god. That's how it presented itself. And it got really awkward. The lights went out. There was like there was just this strange thing that was going on. It was very paranormal. And I had this dog that was my most beloved dog ever. It was this Australian Shepherd Blue Heeler mix. Very smart dog. And it wasn't much longer after that. She began to develop this where she was pulling her hair out of her back. And I took her to the vet, and they said it was some type of skin allergy. And it went on and on where she was doing this. It was like a neurotic thing. And there were these experiences where poltergeist experiences and dreams and visions that would come into the mind that were like you didn't want to see. It was like at nighttime when trying to sleep. There would be this strange seeing things that even if you tried to push the ideas out of your mind, it was like you couldn't or something. And it took the longest time. But at the time, there was nothing I could do about it. It would just come into my mind and I would see the strangest, most off-wall things, like in my mind's eye, typically when going to sleep. And it would keep me awake as I was trying to go to sleep, but I would see these things. At the same time this was happening, I had roommates, and there would be poltergeist activity that would happen. Or you'd be standing in the kitchen, and something would fly off of something. Doors would open and shut repeatedly, over and over again. You're talking like upstairs. As if you go to look and there was nobody there. Ouija board experiences, I got rid of it at that point because it was just so beyond the scope of anything I'd expect from an entity or a ghost. And I moved from that house. I owned that house. And I had to move from that house. That whole house, the main water line busted. The ceiling fell in the utility room. A storm came through and the whole fence was blown down. There were just so many things. The heat in the furnace thing went out. Anyway, I moved, but I took the doorknob of the front room with me to this other house. And in that case, that house I moved into, it was as if like the person who previously lived there came there, that they had been doing rituals there. The people who lived there before had been doing occult rituals in the house and came to collect stuff that was in the floorboards of the house I moved into next after that. And at that house, there were things that manifested where all of the books on the bookshelf, not just in front of me, but in front of other people, all knocked over, like something like a squirrel was running across them or something was running across them, and they all just tumbled like dominoes. And then there was like a knock. There were footsteps in the, like, it was like beyond typical ghost experiences. I had this dream of this shark-skinned cat that had no ears. It spelt its name out as it introduced itself. It said, "My name is," and it spelt it out. One letter like a B, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, F, like that, in this congruent thing. in the dream, there were just so many things. I went into the bathroom that was behind a fireplace. It was in a bedroom. And in that mirror, there was it only happened one time. So you can't take all of this in context. This all happened over the course of like about 2 years of just strange things that would happen. Ice popping out of people's glasses, doors that would just open in front of anyone, people who would just fall out of like, it was the strangest thing. I don't know, but in the mirror in the bathroom one day, towards the end, what qualified, there was a medium who came in. And he said, and there was, the ball lightning was at a completely different apartment, but this was at a house. But in the mirror in the bathroom, I went into the mirror one time. And I was washing my hands and I looked up and I couldn't see myself in the mirror. That all started and ended not long after that because I just literally shut everything down. I couldn't see myself in the mirror was the final thing. And it only happened for like however few minutes. And it never happened after that. But I looked up and couldn't see my own reflection. The mirror was placed behind this fireplace. This house was probably built in I don't know if it has anything to do with that. The reason the people who chose the house before that or what they were doing in there. But the point is that these encounters with demonic, there are for example, the shark-skinned cat with no ears dream. That was all it was. There was a little bit more before that. It doesn't matter. I've told that story already before. But the point being that when you try to cross into another deeper level, when you try to go way beyond into your psyche or into the psyche of the world, you try to go, something stops you. And I believe it is this demonic. That they are somewhat like foot soldiers in a way. And they stop you and they test you with so many things that if you do not qualify, they do not let you pass into whatever type of knowledge you are trying to acquire until you qualify through life experiences or showing not so much, or maybe you're afraid, but that you somehow continue to try. I did not and have not pursued to go. But that you have to face that. And they are like the lions at the gate, so to speak. And when you are trying to go somewhere, you will find them. And they are not like, even though this sometimes presented as being ghosts, or something of the kind, their power does reach into reality. It's not just a mental reality, but it's something that boldly presents itself in front of not just yourself, but it will present in front of others. And it's hard to believe. It really is. But I don't think that you can know certain things unless you can get past them. And they are very hard to get past. That makes sense.
Yeah, well said. Makes a ton of sense. And so again, me being having the absolute privilege to be here for every single Troubled Mind show ever. I know that many people have not don't have that privilege because I'm sort of the lightning rod for all that, right? I've heard some of these stories too, and so that you decline to elaborate on in this moment, but yeah, there's it seems to me that there's something out there, and it wants in, right? Like for lack of a better definition, it kind of wants in, and it seems like we're the conduit, we're the gateway somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
shut it down. It actually took probably like 6 months to even shut it down and be like, I'm done. Like, I don't want anything to do with this. Whatever I was trying to know this way, by the inner searching way, which is the way they tell you to look. And I just could not right now at this time in my, I think I'll have to be older or something. But like, it was too much. It was just too much. But it was any little thing, I would ignore it. I went searching into Taoist magic and Icelandic magic and
I can tell by how much you know.
Catholicism and anything.
You were wise beyond your years, obviously, for a very specific reason, and that's why you do all this amazing stuff. Yeah, I believe you. I believe you because you bless us with that knowledge all the time, and so.
I mean, I'm 30 years old essentially, like, but I intended to. My whole thing was to go on this, was to find all of this. It ended up being like, I want nothing to do with it. Like, just leave me alone. Like, it went to that kind of place that I needed to get, that it's just I couldn't handle it or something.
Yeah, kind of let it be. Well, like let it be, let you be, and then sort of.
Because there would be physical manifestations of things. It was incredible, but my deduction of it is that the demonic is some type of gatekeeping on the astral plane or something of the effect, and that they are at a depth that they're guarding something. And if you can't, and what it took eventually was ignoring any type of paranormal outbursts in a way, or what seemed to be a display of some kind of impossible sort of didn't make any sense, to ignore it, or to hearing disembodied voices, others saying that they heard you or you thought you heard them. It's it's a mental thing too. They are congruent with to some extent, but there's so many things that go with it. Like, but yeah, that they are guarding some type of line. They're holding some type of line in the psychic level, and you have to be able to get to withstand it, and not only just withstand it, stand above it somehow. So if people are searching for that, they are watching you for it. So there's something about it. It's something like that with the demonic, and trying to, or what people may describe. Now, maybe people may think of an evil entity, but humans are evil too, and they do horrific things, and they are ghosts too. In my belief, that nobody changes. Like you're a bad person in life, you're still gonna act like this. That's what the problem with ancestral worship is that people think that someone's going to have some kind of grandeur moment, but my worry is that that might not be the case. So even in voodoo, they've described that if you didn't get along with, say, your grandfather or grandmother or your or whoever,
great grandpa's Attila the Hun or whatever.
Yeah, that they will be a similar personality if you make contact with them through voodoo. That they do not change their colors, so to speak. They are who they were. And so, there's a lot like that is the case. But ancestral worship was to appease, because the ancestors would guard you in that realm. But if you have no guard, it's very difficult to go into that realm without a guard, without guards. And guards being most likely your ancestral, or if you can appease some saints or something like that, is what I always think about it. That because you're going to the deepest regions of your own psyche, and the psyche of the shadow realm of other psyches that are around you. And there's just something there that's a type of void that is animated and influenced by something much more congruent with that realm than you are. And there's some difficulty to qualify that you get past the terror of being afraid of these physical manifestations, or at least having some control over the way that you respond to them, and then the way that you mentally want to run away, but that you won't. And so to be able to see any kind of truth that's beyond that in some way. So there's something very serious with it, but it does seem to be an intelligence of some kind that is aware that some people may be trying to do that. And you're not qualified to do it in life, though you may do it at some other point. But I don't know. It's just the strangest thing is all. You know?
And yes, 100%. I'm with you 100% there. I don't know either. And this is why I'm here. And do look, I make fun of myself, but I do take this stuff seriously because I do understand and recognize that there's a lot of people out there that have not, let's say, congruent experiences, because you can't, to measure things like that. But let's say people are having experiences.
Oh,
out
they
there
do.
Yeah,
they do, from what I've heard.
Yeah, well,
absolutely.
I'm just saying, I'm not trying to count.
No, yes, I know what you're. I know what you meant.
Like not that, yeah. But I mean, similar, not congruent or whatever. But and that becomes the point. It's like this stuff. However you want to quantify it is certainly real. It's affecting the real world, and it's affecting people, and it's a resonant thing that we share together. So it's I don't know. It's like I said, I'm blessed to be part of this, and again, hearing testimonies like yours and many other people that also have seen some things that don't have an outlet to kind of let these things out. So like I said, I'm pretty sure I'm the only guy who's been here for every Troubled Mind show. Like I said, I'm blessed to be that guy.
True enough.
But as part of it, it's a sort of this culmination of knowledge and ideas and everything else. And so I leave you with this. Jen. Over on Rumble, John 5B says this. The bright side is, look how many good souls are here with us right now. Yeah.
That's true.
That's true.
That is true. Yes.
Good stuff.
Have a good night, Mike.
Appreciate the call.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing. You take care. We'll talk to you soon. That's Jed in Missouri, the Arcane Observer. Good friend for a long time. And like I said, some of the things she didn't elaborate on, I know those stories. We've talked in the past, and like I said, I'm the only guy who's been there for every show. So, and go ahead and challenge me on that. Go listen to everyone and get back to me. But good, bad, and indifferent. There's been some really bad shows, by the way, in the past. There's been some really bad shows. But I'm just saying, not these days. For the most part, we're hitting home runs instead of laying stinkers in the outfield. So in any case, give Jen a follow, please, please, please. Like I said, there's some additional context to her, the testimony, the story she's telling there, and her personal experience. And it's back in the archives. Like I said, I wish. I think at some point there's going to be like an archivist, like an AI archivist, is going to be able to go back and like sniff out all the amazing threads that have run through the Troubled Minds family as we've had these discussions. But unfortunately, I can't tell you where this particular thing happened or when I heard that story, or we were kind of making a joke earlier with Theo as well. But yada yada blah blah blah. Follow Jen, the Arcane Observer. Link's going to be in the description down below. She's here on the radio station with us. She's got a YouTube channel, Twitter, X, all the rest. troubledminds.org/friends. Please, it says follow Jen here. Please do that. And and that's the thing, right? Like this is, so it's all fun and games until, this type of stuff happens to somebody and like alters them forever and makes them question reality forever. You see what I mean? So that's why, I do like to laugh at myself, but I kind of laughing at the larger context of what this esoteric stuff means, or the metaphysical stuff means. I don't know. I feel like laughing at it is, you're laughing at yourself because you don't, because you don't understand it. Yeah. Amazing call. Appreciate it very much. All the great comments in the chat. Thank you for that. That's supporting Jen. Again, links in the description, troubledminds.org. Search it yourself. The Arcane Observer. Yeah. Amazing stuff. James, anything on that before we wrap this?
No, just great call. Jen, is always glad to hear from her. And yeah, I wonder if she's right about that. That's an amazing idea that, these, at least some, maybe all, maybe just some entities are there not because they mean to be evil, but they're there for other reasons, and it just comes across as maybe evil. That's an amazing idea, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's accurate. And because I trust what she says about not what she went through and what she felt and everything, and I think that's I'm sure that's part of it. I think everything is possible and probably does exist in one way or another, and so I wouldn't doubt that that's some of these entities out there. When they're doing things, they're doing them not just to be like a comic book or a bad movie villain. They have reasons for what they're doing, unfortunately.
Which means, well, yeah, no answers is part of the problem, and I think we have a human problem of wanting all the answers. But I think, like I said, I don't know, all the gray hair that I got here. I'm showing off my gray hair these days because I cut my hair, but I think the gray hair is like, well, for me, when I was 22 or something, like I wanted to know all the answers. Actually, at 22, I thought I knew all the answers. Now that I'm, 29 with this gray hair, I defer the answers. I don't know. Like I think we're not. We're not meant to know some things, and I think that's the most resonant part of this to me, is sharing the experiences of not knowing those answers. Is, I don't know. I think there's some magic there. There's some divinity there, whatever that means, however you want to quantify that. But that's how I see it. It's anyway, like I always say, I'm blessed to be here, and thank you guys for being part of this and carrying and staying up late, and again, being honest and telling your stories and being nice to each other. Like I said, go find another corner of the internet that's as special as we are, and I think you'll be hard pressed. 100%. Yeah, 100%. Anything else, James? Doing the outro music. Let's roll. Oh, actually, I promise. Hold on, I promise something. I promised to tell you a bunch of things I never heard. There you go. Yeah, it's that thing. Hold on. Real quick, I'm gonna say some words. So you think I can't pronounce words? Yeah, I'm about to make this even worse. Hold on. Let's see.
Words are hard.
Words are definitely hard. Okay, hold on. All right, here we go. So we ended up with demonic residue. So I'm gonna tell you some words that I can't pronounce. All right. Wait, can I make Microsoft Mike read this? Let's see. No, don't be demonic. Okay, Kabbalistic cliphoth. Qliphoth. You guys ever heard of this? Anybody ever heard of this? All right.
Nope.
Yeah, me neither. All right. So here's the best part. Let's see if we can do a Microsoft Mike moment, because I can't read half of these words. Listen to this. I told this new AI, hey, stop beating around the bush and just get to the nitty gritty and go deep. This is the stuff it actually sent to me. This is what it sent. Listen to this. This is nuts.
PMO patients might perceive faces through the lens of cliphothic energies, representing the shadowy, impure forces in Kabbalistic tradition. These energies, remnants of previous worlds, could manifest as grotesque facial distortions in sensitive individuals.
Copy that? Yeah, I followed that too. Cliphothic energies.
Yeah.
Kabbalah. Like this is okay. So you think that's weird? All right, here's the next one. Microsoft Mic, take two. For those of you that have been around for a long time, I used to do some Microsoft Mic back in the day. It was like when I'd lazy it up and take a swig of beer and be like, oh fuck it, why am I going to read this? I'll just have Microsoft Mic read it. But I'm having Microsoft Mic read it tonight because I can't pronounce half of these words. Listen to this. I've never even heard of this stuff. Listen to this. One more. couple more. We'll do a couple more so you can see what I'm talking about. I told this new AI to go deep, and it's like, okay. And I'm like, dear God, I've never heard of any of this stuff. All right, let's right, exactly. All right, here we go. Right then.
Description: PMO could be akin to navigating a bardo-like state from Tibetan Buddhism, where individuals perceive the transitional energies between life, death, and rebirth. The distorted faces might reflect the malevolent entities or energies in this in-between space.
And it's a bardo-like state, B-A-R-D-O, bardo-like state from Tibetan Buddhism. Like I told, this is what happens, right? When you tell it to go deep, this is what happens. It gets better. Here we go. Gonna read a couple more. No bardo, no bardo, no bardo. What's up, Rev? All right, here we go. Alchemical. No, I'm not gonna tell you what it is. You're gonna have to hear it just like it is, right here.
The chaotic, unrefined substance known as prima materia in alchemy could parallel the demonic distortions seen in PMO. This perspective suggests that PMO patients are perceiving raw, chaotic energy, similar to the alchemical process of transforming base materials into noble ones.
It's fine. This is all fine. Like I said, suddenly there are a bunch of words in here and concepts and ideas that I'm like, wait, what? Don't you know me? I'm Troubled Minds. My name is Michael Strange, and I've been doing Troubled Minds for 6 years. AI, don't you respect my authority? No, I don't know shit compared to this. Okay, here's another one. We got a couple more. Listen to this. And we'll get to Rudolf Steiner next. But this is let's go back to ancient Egypt. This is what happens when you say, come on, AI, this is BS. Would you go deep? All right, listen to this. This is more nuts.
In ancient Egyptian belief, the Ka is the vital essence or spiritual double. PMO distortions might reflect disruptions in this vital essence, with the distorted faces representing imbalances or afflictions affecting the Ka.
The Ka, K-A, ancient Egyptian, right? It's all fine. We're all fine. All right, now Rudolf Steiner, and we'll wrap this. This is what happened. So this is ChatGPT, which has been unimpressive for several months now, and been surpassed by Claude and by what's the other one? Gemini, Google Gemini. Except that GPT just launched their new one today called 4040. Anyway, Rudolf Steiner, listen to this. Like I said, hearing concepts I've never heard of before. Respect my authority. Here we go. Listen to this.
Rudolf Steiner's concept of supersensible worlds, realms beyond ordinary perception, might explain PMO. Patients could be accessing hidden dimensions through altered brain processing, with demonic faces representing disruptive forces in these realms.
See? This could have been 10 shows with this type of stuff. You start to layer these ideas. This is AI digging deep. And look up, I'd have to, do some fact checking and some other weird stuff and like finding out what these terms even mean. Yeah, 10 shows, says Austin. I'm telling you, there's a lot here. And I don't know. Again, I don't know. James, help me with the I don't knows. Maybe give me an I know.
I know that I don't know.
Okay. I think that's Plato or something. Didn't Plato say that like thousands of years ago?
I don't know. That's funny. But yeah, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I think you did. I really think you did. Anyway, so there are layers and layers and layers and layers of this stuff. And now you know why I didn't get into that stuff a little bit earlier, because I don't understand any of it. And I'm gonna have to dig deep myself to even be able to speak about it in a coherent manner. And I do enough rambling as it is. But yeah, I don't know. As I always say, I do not know. And I think there is some solace, there is some serenity, there's some peace in not knowing and needing to know every damn thing. It's okay. It's okay. We got tomorrow, God willing, and that's that. Let's wrap it. Anything to add, James, before the music hits?
Just thank you for letting me hang out again for the show, and great calls from everyone, and looking forward to the next.
Let's press the button properly, and thank you, James, for being cool and chill, and the glue of the show, and the paranormal expert, and just the amazing guy that you are. Thank you for that. Thanks for chilling and hanging out. And look, ideas, lots, answers, few, all the rest. We'll, God willing, we'll get back to this tomorrow. If you want to help Troubled Minds, help our friends, you know what to do. troubledminds.org/friends. Do me a favor, hook up that YY is added to that list. Hook up the link tree so we can get all your links in one spot, and we'll put you there. Like I said, anybody else, this is not an exclusive club. All you got to do is spread the word. If you literally go tell somebody one time about Troubled Minds, hey, you should probably go listen to this. It's pretty cool. They're not going to tell you who to vote for, right? It's like the tagline. You're in the club. That's it. You just help a little bit. It doesn't matter. Look at notice little tiny things. This is how grassroots activism works. We talk about ideas. We spread the word together, and yeah. So if you need to be on that list, troubledminds.org/friends, and you're not, it's not a slight. I just need to know because some people look, and here's the reason why I don't know specifically, by the way, because if you have sort of a quasi-private social media, you don't want people to know. You know what I mean? Anyway, who knows? That's the point. So you let me know if you want me to share your stuff. Your ass is on that list, and that's that. Just spread the word, let people know something's happening. Please follow our friends, troubledminds.org/friends. It's not an exclusive list, it's an inclusive list. I mean that 100%. It's Big Tent conspiracy here, and we're talking about wild ideas. It's how we do this. So that's that. If you want to help, spread the word, let people know all the rest of the stuff, help our friends. What's the other stuff? I don't know. Keep thinking, keep dreaming, keep wondering about the wide world we live in. Look, it's a magical place, I'll tell you that. Whether it's metaphorically or directly, it makes no difference to me, because magic exists in them our hills, and we're gonna talk about it. We're gonna delve it out. We're gonna find it, at least enough to talk about it. If you want to help Troubled Minds directly, there's some links in the description down below. If you want to send some greenbacks, some old school dollars before they make the digital dollar, whatever. Those links are down there. I appreciate that very much. Like I said, it does help me recognize that there's value out there and people appreciate it, value reciprocal style. You get it? I appreciate it very much. There's a new channel, by the way, on Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, troubledminds.org, click the Discord link up top. There's a new channel for the merch. Troubledfans.com. You will not find Michael Strange in a hot tub, but you will find the hottest Troubled Minds merch around. So go buy your merch and go to join the Discord. Show us your Troubled Minds selfie with your Troubled Minds merch on. There's a new channel there. Shout out Ted in England. I see you there, buddy. He requested that channel. And show us your Troubled Minds swag out there in the world, that you're not afraid. Not afraid. Troubledfans.com. Check out the merch. All right, as we finish, it goes exactly like this. How you feeling, James? You want to do it?
Be sure, be strong, be true.
Thank you for listening. From our Troubled Minds to yours, have a great night. God willing, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks again for caring and being part of this, and suspending disbelief for all the moments we're together. And that's that. Michael Strange. You guys have a fantastic night.